Hete poo, hete poo, hete poo. Dua, 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 ooh. Nazarak, Ramech, Immortality. Greetings and divine greatness, divine excellence to the first families. My Nagas, Shamsarus, Nasubitis, Sibas, Sba-ts, Mutratats, the immortal ones of Maat cherished, of the phenomenon of precession, New Age order, great golden age of Maat Asar, and all citizens, descendants of the Nile Valley Cultural Cosmic Collective Consciousness Spirituality. Many are the mysteries concerning the universe and the Ankh, life that is found within it. This is also true regarding the theories, laws that govern them. Who am I? Where do I come from? Why am I here? And where am I going? All the known and unknown forces of the universe are of one origin. Necessity becomes the order by which these forces reveal themselves. Existence demands that energy be spent. Existence is realized by the expansion of energy that must have a source. In the case of our universe, Ankh, life is always associated to heat and movement. But the energy that drives the entire universe is of the direct result of the self-creation of Ra Nebuchadnezzar radiation, which produces the phenomena of attraction and repulsion, along with the anomalies of heat and movement. Pa nata apupa ma'at. How sweet is the ma'at, truth of the Patnatarus. Ankh was the jet, life, power, stability. Ankh uja seneb, life, prosperity, health. Uben napike panebu haru ma'ati. Rising always in divine excellence with ma'at. Every day, all day. Every day, all day. Every day, all day.
Hete pu, dua, duau, anuk ast ma'at tefnut, and I am here with my Sba, Ptah Secret Asar, and we are here with the Tesha Parah, Holy House of Ra, and within Tesha Parah, I am known as Ast Ma'at Tefnut. Anuk means I am. Today, we both welcome you to the Precious Treasure Immortality series. This is segment 11. Today, we will be discussing and bringing to you the knowledge of our story versus his story. And at this time, Ptah Secret Asar, my Sba, if you would, tell everyone who you are and where they can find you.
Duau, Ramech. This is the Naga ship of cosmic awareness, spiritual consciousness, and universal enlightenment. Teptwa abbreviated star date is Ra, the 10th of Min, Renpet, year number 10. Welcome to Star Time. Time is the movement or measurement of the light through the void of deep, dark, cold space from one point or distance to another. The cultural, cosmic, collective, conscious spirituality of time. The sacred science of time. The divine mathematics of time. Star Time with your hosts, Asma Tefnut and Ptah Secret Asar, sponsored by the Nagatian Telecommunication, Nagatian Institute of Cosmic Awareness, Spiritual Consciousness, and Universal Enlightenment, the Naga Ship Association, Telecommunication Multimedia Platform. So, my name is Ptah Secret Asar. I'm the Royal Scribe, Master Craftsman, and Chief of Time of Tesha Parah. Before we go into our Hesses, before we begin the program, I would like to recite a few poems. And remember that today's topics of discussion is his story versus our story. Do you know what it feels like to be an uncrowned Nasut Hemet, king and queen, lacking honor, a crown, a throne, a Merku, a solar Sidra lunar calendar, in just about everything. Well, let me tell you of our story, of our most earliest ancient African indigenous primordial ancestors in their glory. Those of us who were born from the great line of Nesut and Hemet. Those of us who were born from the great line of Nesut and Hemet, kings and queens. From diamonds and pearls and emeralds and all sorts of precious things. Everyday trinkets for those of us who were born from the great line of Nesut and Hemet, kings and queens. Those of us who were born from the great line of Nesut and Hemet, kings and queens. But without your past, you can only live life in half. Half man, half woman, half beast, half slave. And this trend of thought is all that you have sought, all that you have bought without knowledge of yesterday, without knowledge of yesterday. Oh, let not the flames die out, cherished age after golden great age, in its sacred caverns and holy temples cherished, fed by the pure Nagas, Shemsurus, Nesubitis, Hemet, Sba-t, Natat, the immortal ones of Maat cherished. Oh, let not the flames die out. Anuk Heru, Anuk Heru, I am Heru, I am Heru. I give you my wings so that you may fly. I give you my eyes so that you will never die. Oh, you divine Nagas, Shemsurus, Nesubitis, Hemet, Sba-t, Natat, the immortal ones of Maat cherished. Gather, gather, come hither, come nither, rally unto me, and I will lead you to the true righteous Maatian path of immortality. The immortal ones of Maat. Follow the movement of the stars, Suptit, Sirius, and Ra, and you will find yourself in a perfect state in space and time. Acknowledge the divine cosmic environment that you are seeing, and you will desire to acquire the ability to experience the phenomenon of being. The prophecies states that we will be sent something from the past to join with something from the future. Something from the physical world to join with the spiritual world. The Samatawi union of both the past and the future. The physical and the spiritual world will be contained in the revelations of a secret, mystical, spherical diagram called the Ipet Heru Shabitem Twa Heru Pamaat, to ensure your divine birthright and to facilitate your journey, voyage, quest of immortality, to be reborn, renewed as a star, expanding with the universe forever and ever. And the last poem will be, before the Romans and the Greeks, there were 9 days in every week, and time was kept by charting stars that were visible on our calendar, aware of the movement of the earth, stars, and moon. These ancient African indigenous primordial ancestors were cosmically attuned. Dua, dua. Welcome to another episode, our 11th episode, and today we'll be discussing, our topics of discussion will be our story versus his story, or history, which of course is his story. So I shall send it back to the Queen Mother Goddess, our most revered, honorable Asma Tefnut, so she may facilitate and direct us with the feminine energy so that we may carry on our mission.
Dua, Usiba. So my favorite poem was not shared, so I would like to share that poem myself.
Yes, Queen. Yes, Queen. Okay. Dua.
Yes, you did share it. Okay, you did share it. And my favorite poem is Anuk Heru. Anuk Heru. I was starting a watch party, so I remember now. Okay. So what we're going to do right quick is address those here with us. Actually, yeah, we're going to address those. So we have Sir Wapul, and she is on YouTube, Branch of Knowledge. That's where I know her from, and Crumb TV. our humble brother Crumb. We have the calendar here, the Ancient Khemetic Rasaurian Calendar, and it is the Crumb TV edition, which you can see here. Duwa, Duwa-woo, Sirwa. We appreciate you being here. We have Kai Creatress from YouTube speaking peace and love to everyone. Peace and love to you as well, sister. And this Sba Haruka Okofo speaking Amswaz Neb Abat and Duwa Duwa-woo. Let's see. Crypto Yo speaks peace from YouTube. Peace to you. And they have their calendar. They got to figure out how to use it. I have my series, Take the Gregorian Calendar Off of Your Wall. So you follow me and my channel, my network, and the Nagaship Telecommunications Multimedia. Then you can look at the past videos. I actually have one that I'm scheduling for in less than 14 days. And we actually had a meeting yesterday to get questions from everyone. And so those questions and the feedback from the Sbas and Sba-ts help form the presentation that we bring in regards to teaching the calendar. So we're not just going to go off the top of our head and teach things and want everyone to follow along. We are presenting the presentations based on your feedback. So if you would inbox me if you have any questions or concerns, feedback, Crypto Yo, and I will be sure to present those topics, that information that you share on that future broadcast. Anuk Haru Kushnaga is here from Facebook speaking Ankh Uja Seneb, Duwa Duwa-woo. We also have Sba, Kwame, Amen, Minra, Kimbro speaking Duwa Duwa-woo to the Ramech. And Ramech means family. And he is with us on Facebook. We appreciate you being here, Sba. And Patricia Snyder from Facebook speaks thank you, Duwa Duwa-woo to you. And okay, and Crypto Yo has it. And so we will receive Crypto Yo's feedback, if any, and I will be sure to present it during the broadcast for the Take the Gregorian Calendar Off of Your Wall. And it will be scheduled a few days ahead, so you'll have time to adjust your schedule and or know that it's coming. So I appreciate everyone that is here. Right now, I'm going to share with you the platforms we are broadcasting live on right now. We have my Facebook page, Joy Allen, that we're broadcasting on. We also have the we also have the Nagaship Association Telecommunications Multimedia. We are streaming on the Facebook and YouTube channel for that platform. We are also on my Maat Facebook and YouTube channel, and that platform is only for the teachings of the calendar, which we just discussed. So if you want only teachings on the calendar, go to Asma Atef Newt on Facebook and or YouTube, specifically only content with learning the calendar there. We are also on my humble brother Crumb's branch of knowledge on YouTube. So go over there and check out Brother Crumb if you're not already familiar. Smash that subscribe button he would request. And again, with the Ancient Khemetic Rasaurian Calendar, I am an official global distributor of this calendar. This is the Crumb TV edition. And you will see more about that today. I'm sure you'll hear plenty about it. And with that, oh, and I'm also on my Twitter account, Periscope MKDTNT. And at this time, we will be performing our Hesses. I'm going to remove this banner right quick. And I will go first. Then Sba-t Secret Asar will follow me, go after me. And when Sba-t Secret Asar is ready to call upon me, I will perform my Hesse. Duwa Duwa-woo Sba.
Duwa Duwa-woo Panata Pupamat, Onquaste Jet, Onkujas Neb, Ubana Pike Pandeburu Maati, to you, my great Sba-t. Sba-t, we call upon you to perform your Hesi, your Saku, your affirmation, your libation, to command the cosmic forces that allow you love, guidance, protection through the daily experience of quantum matter. You must perform your Hesi. You must perform the Usa Medu Nefe Heka'u, so that you may present yourself before the ancestors, the ancient ones, and the partner Teru. We call upon you to perform your Hesi. Dua, Dua.
Dua, Dua, Siba, Ptah Secret Sar. Hete Pu, Dua, Dua, Anazarek Ramech, Hotep. Greetings and divine greatness, divine excellence to the first families, and to everyone joining us here today on the Precious Treasure Immortality series. This is segment 11, Our Story versus His Story. Also, to my Nagas, Shimsahurus, Nesubitis, Mutnatarts, Sba-t, and Hamets, the immortal ones of Maat cherished, of the phenomenon of precession, New Age order, Great Golden Age of Maat, Hapi Asar, and to all citizens, descendants of the Nile Valley Cultural Cosmic Collective Consciousness, Spirituality. O Ra Neber Teshara, the she and he, the mother and father of all existence, the master and possessor of light and radiation, of heat and movement. We ask that you bless us humble servants for Ankh life being, now present. For we seek the counsel of the ancient ones and practice daily the ancient Maatian ways and ancient Maatian truths. We strive evermore to become one with thee in this world and in the existence to come. We ask that you bless us on this, the 118th Haru after the Helical rising, 242 Harus remaining until Ubin Saptit Cyrus rising, Upuat Samai Tawi, Weprin Pet Digit Heb, the 10th Haru, the 4th Abet of Men, the 2nd Haru of Ra, the 28th Haru, the 4th Abet, the 1st season of Shemu, Renpet number 10, AFNK/ST after founding of New Kemet, Naga Kemet, Samai, Tawi, phenomenon of precession, New Age order, Great Golden Age of Ma'at, Hapi Asar. We ask that you bless our families and friends and all those of us who gather together to worship in your most holy, sacred, and glorious ancient Tamarian name of Ra Neber Teshara. For in the art of seeking you, there is much comfort. So as it is spoken, so let it be written, so let it be done, so shall it be. For now and forever forward, Ra Neber Teshara, Panatara Pu Pamaat, Ankh Was Dejed, Ankh Uja Seneb, Ubin Nefer Iker Panebu Haru, Ma'ati, rising always in divine excellence with Ma'at every day, all day. Dua, Dua'u.
Dua, Dua'u, Queen Mother Goddess, Sba-t, Panatapu Paman, Ankh Was Dejed, Ankh Uja Seneb, Ubin Nefer Panebu Haru, Ma'ati, to you. Your words are Macharu. You are true of voice. You are victorious and righteously great. You have presented yourself for the cosmic forces that allow us love, guidance, and protection through the daily experiences of ponderable matter. You have addressed yourself unto the ancient ones, the ancestors, and the partner Terus, and your words are splendors to their ears. And we say to you, Queen Mother Goddess, Dua, Dua, Dua.
Dua, Dua'u. And at this time, Sba-t Secret Sar, perform your Hesi before the ancient ones, the partner Terus, and the ancestors, so that your Hesi, Saku, affirmation is found to be splendor to the ears, to their ears. Dua, Dua'u.
Dua, Dua'u, Queen Mother Goddess, Sba-t. I shall ask the ancestors for permission to speak, living and transition. So I shall call upon the great Queen Mother Goddess Afur for permission to speak, the great Queen Mother Goddess Sba-t for permission to speak, great Queen Mother Goddess Wall-Renenut, Terry Nelson, the great Queen Mother Goddess Maat, Heteru Maat, and to the Queen Mother Goddess Ra Healing for permission to speak, and to call upon the elders I call upon Professor Leonard Jeffries for permission to speak. I call upon Professor Baba Suni Valentine for permission to speak. I call upon Baba Heru for permission to speak. I call upon Kaba Kamini for permission to speak. I call upon Mefundishi for permission to speak. I shall also call upon my great friend Reggie Mabry for permission to speak. And I shall command the cosmic forces that allow me love God's protection by performing my Hesi, my Saku, my affirmation. And I shall begin. Dua, Dua, Duau, Duau, Anazarak, Ramech, Imhotep. Greetings and divine greatness, divine excellence to the first families of the New Age order. My Nagas, my Shemsurus, my Nesubitis, my Hemets, my Sibas and Sba-ts, my Mutnatats, the immortal ones of Maat, cherished, phenomenon of precession, New Age order, great golden age of Maat, Asar, and all citizens, descendants of the Nile Valley cultural cosmic collective consciousness spirituality. O Ra Nebuchadnezzar, the he, the she, the mother and father of all existence, the master and possessor of light and radiation, of heat and movement. Bless us humble servants for Ankh, life, being now present, for we seek the counsel of the Ancient One and practice daily the ancient Maatian ways and ancient Maatian truths. We strive evermore to become one with thee in this world and in the existence to come. We ask that you bless us on this, the 118th day of the year after the Helical rising, 242 days remaining until Ubin Subtit Cyrus rising, Upuat, Samatawi, Wetren Pet Digit New Year celebration, the 10th day of the 4th month of Min, the 2nd day of Ra, the 28th day of the 4th month of the 1st season of Shemu, year number 10, AFNK/ST, after the founding of New Kemet, Naga Kemet, Samatawi, phenomenon of precession, New Age order, the great golden age of Maat Asar. We ask that you bless our families and friends and all those of us who gather together to worship in your most holy, sacred, and glorious ancient Tamarian name of Ra Nebuchadnezzar. For in the act of seeking you, there is much comfort. So as it is spoken, so let it be written, so let it be done, so shall it be. For now and forever forward, Ra Nebuchadnezzar, Pa Nata, Apupa Maat, Uncle Jet, Uncle Jas Neb, Ubenefi Kia Panaburu Maati, rising always in divine excellence with Maat every day, all day. Atumra.
Dua, Duau, Sba-t Rasar. Your words are my true voice. You are victorious and righteously great. You have commanded the cosmic forces that affords you love, guidance, and protection through the daily experiences of ponderable matter. Your libation, Hesi, Saku affirmation is splendor to the ears of the ancient ones, the Puatnet Cherus, and the ancestors. Dua, Duau, Sba.
Dua, Duau, Palata, Pama.
All right. So I know I'm gonna share a little bit about how we came on this topic today. There was a post on Facebook and someone had spoke about the negatives of Egyptology. And we also discussed Kemetic science. And so, of course, I reached out to my Sba-t Rasar to set the record straight. And of course, I learned many things in the process of receiving guidance from him during that conversation. So much knowledge that I didn't return to the Facebook post. I continued onto my path of knowledge and went from there. And I've started preparing for this broadcast. And so with conversation from my Sba, this has been titled Our Story versus His Story. And at this time, I'm going to ask Sba-t Rasar to speak more on that. And we're going to go into the presentation as he sees fit. And I'm going to take his lead at this time. Dua, Sba.
Dua, Palata, Pama. Okay, family, let us begin today and let us discuss our story versus history. So most of us know history. Everything you know in your teachings, it comes from history. His story, you have to break it down. This is etymology 101, okay? You've been corrupted, you've been plagiarized, your information has been fragmented, then it was regurgitated back to you in an unholy manner, in a historical document. It becomes his story. So history is really your story or our story. It's just corrupted. It's been fragmented. It's been plagiarized. And then it's regurgitated back to you in an unholy manner. And now it's called his story. So history becomes essentially the essence of our spirituality, but it's called our story. So anytime you speak of history, you are defrequentizing yourself. You have corrupted yourself because we are not even mentioned in the annals of history. So if you're a theologian or an ecclesiastic person in which this information is being disseminated to, then when we show up on the grand table, on the global table, we're slaves. History only begins when we have fallen from our greatness, when we lost control of this planet. It was a global Naga rule. Our story is ubiquitous. It is everywhere. It is omnipresent. And it spanned millions and millions of years. And so as above, so below, through the annals of time, of Ptah, and the phenomenon of precession, the 26,000-year cycle. And as we keep going back through this cycle, we can trace our story back 10 million years by simply using our meteorological star timeline, the Ancient Rasaurian Khemetic Solar Civil Lunar Calendar. Okay? This is the precious treasure. This is our story. Our story is the story of the stars. Our story is the story of the self-creation of Ra Nebuchadnezzar. So what they did was they used a Gregorian chronological timeline, a fraudulent Gregorian chronological timeline, an insidious and evil Gregorian chronological timeline. It steals all of your frequencies. It steals all of your essence. It takes away your whole remembrance. That's why it's on your wall. That's why you must take down the Gregorian calendar from your wall. So if you are a scholar, which is the worst thing to be, is a scholar. Now you need scholarship. Everyone should have scholarship. But to be a scholar means that you're a Greek and a Roman, and that you perpetuate this Hellenistic paradigm doctrines of ancient humanity. So most of your teachers are all scholars. They have no temple discipline. They're all Googlers. They learn through the colleges and they're Googlers. Okay, I'm gonna present to you information from the temple. And the temple is the teaching. The whole circumference or the whole dynamics and geometric structure of the temple. It's ancient megalithic, monolithic architectural monuments which are orientated to the celestial axis and to the circumpolar stars and to Septon and Pleiades and Orion are the essence of our story because it connects us to the cosmic tapestry, the fabric of the universe through our Milky Way galaxy. Excuse me. So let us begin with what you know. What you know is the Hellenistic paradigm doctrines of ancient humanity. And it's all based upon, your subjugation is based upon that calendar, that insidious, evil Gregorian chronological timeline is the basis of all of your lost memory. And that's because it's based upon our spirits. They took our spirituality. So what they first took from you was the spirituality. And this spirituality, when they came into Kemet on the Gregorian chronological timeline, for you scholars, for you theologians, for you ecclesiastics who want to do your due diligence, and for you young master teachers who want to find this source out so that you can look at it through your own eyes, it begins when they came in after the Kush kings on a Gregorian chronological timeline, which is 1000 BCE, is when Aspalta, Pianki, Tahaka, and Shabaka, the Kush kings, lost control of Upper and Lower Kemet, and you would go to 754 BC is when they came in and they reformed our solar silver lunar calendar. That's when we lost control. And when we lost control, they stole our cultural, cosmic, collective, conscious spirituality. And then they began the enslavement of our people. So they took our information that we taught them, and they performed they dissected us. They performed a dossier. They have a dossier, a blueprint on what made us tick, what made us what we were, the divine immortal ones of Maat, those who bring forth immortality, the cosmic breath, the cosmic revelation, the star gospel of your immortality. And these were the teachings of all melanated people all over the world. It was ubiquitous. It was everywhere, omnipresent. So what they had to do was find out what it was that made us who we were. And this was the light. We are children of the light. We are star child. We are born of the universe, the fabric of the universe. We are children of the light. So they understood, they stole our time. They stole our cosmic time. This is what they did. So when you wake up tomorrow, you'll be able to unlock yourself from this spell that they got you under. Because when you woke up this morning, you were still subjugated, a mental, physical, spiritual, subjugated slave. And the day before that, you was a mental, physical, spiritual, subjugated slave. And tomorrow, you're going to be a mental, physical, spiritual, subjugated slave if you keep continuing the thought process of his story. Okay? Definitive questions require definitive explanations, star validation, and absolute accountability. So we're going to break this down for you so that you can relate to this through our story, which is the sacred science, the divine mathematics, the cultural spirituality. We're going to put in the astrology and astronomy to have absolute accountability, star validation, and then we're going to pronounce these words in Medu Necha so that we can produce the proper resonance and sounds to produce this frequency. This is first frequency, specifically Ra Never Teshera. This is our story, which defeats their story. All you have to do is snap your finger right now, and you can wake up from that sleep, from being Hellenized and lobotomized by simply taking down the Gregorian calendar from your wall. So this is what they did. They took our time. And if you are a scholar, just Google 754 AUC, Arbor Becodita, on the founding of the city of Rome. Because right now we're not going to look at this information through the lenses of European comprehension. We're going to step beyond the door of European understanding and understand our story through our cultural, cosmic, collective consciousness, spirituality. So when you understand history, all it is redacted information. They corrupted our information, and then they put it in a book, a dossier. But when you read the dossier, all you see in the dossier is black lines going through it. You see the redacted version. Our story is redacted in the book of time, and which they call history. And then when we see history, you see the words, which are unredacted. So you're seeing the unredacted version of our story, which is corrupted, is fragmented, is plagiarized, is regurgitated back to you in an unholy manner. So what they did was they took our story, and once they got it together, they killed your mother, they killed your father, they killed your brother, they killed your teacher, they killed them all. And then they took all the children, and then the children, they taught them children how to read and write. And then they went on a crusade around the world to do this same insidious plan, this Hellenistic plan. And so now the information that you're receiving has been, there are fragmented, it's been adjusted, it's been altered, changed, and rearranged to fit the narrative of his story. So all they did was take our story and plagiarize it, and then it becomes a whole lot of shit. One sugar, honey, ice, and tea, shizness in it. It's one layer of milda on top of the other. You're so much shit up under you. You're saying you got to go down in between all that shit to get to your shit. But what they didn't understand was all that shit was fertilizer to us. The Scarabus beetle takes the doom on the Serengeti. The doom is the sugar, honey, ice, and tea, or the shit. For those of y'all who don't know what doom is, the doom is the waste from the animals, and the Scarabus beetle takes that doom and rolls it up into a ball, and then he pushes it with his hind legs, his and her hind legs, and they push it from east to west. And at the end of the journey, and the beetle excretes fluid, its own fluid, into the ball, into the sphere, into the doom. And at the end of its journey from east to west, another beetle comes out of the doom. So the beetle becomes the concept of self-creation, and it becomes one of the attributes of a manifestation of creation. So this is what we have to do. We have to self-create. This is what we're here to present to you. Our story is the concept of self-creation. Our story is the cosmic thought, the cosmic revelation, the star gospel of the self-creation of Ra Nebuchadnezzar, and it's predicated upon the doctrines of Maat. So, and our story is written in the stars. This is why we all have to learn how to tell true time, cosmic time. And this is what they did was they took our time away. First thing they did, they reformed the calendar. It took me 50 years of studying and diligently training myself to figure out what they did. And they stole our time. They gave us a lunar cycle calendar. And the original calendar of our ancient African indigenous primordial ancestors was solar, sidereal, and lunar. And so what they did was they took the solar aspect and severed us from it. They took the sidereal aspect and severed it from us, and kept us with the lunar cycle calendar, which is a calendar that every month has 30 days. So I don't care what calendar you look at, the Chinese, the Japanese, the Ethiopian calendar, the Yoruba calendar, any calendar in Africa today has been Hellenized and corrupted. If they ain't got it in front of your face, and you can see it, believe me, you've been Hellenized and lobotomized. Because the whole goal, what you're seeking, your immortality, they got you on a path that when you think that you got it, there's 10 more levels that you don't even know about. Then you get to the next level, I got it. And you've been Hellenized again. And then your teacher's still feeding you the same old, and then after you think you got it all together, you don't know how to tell time. So they got you. And then you're eating this food. So now you're only going to have a timeline, or you will be given an artificial expiration date. So by the time of all your endeavors, you end up getting sick. You end up receiving all the unnecessary pain and punishment in which this Hellenistic paradigm doctors have ready for you. And then this is what's been going on for all the great teachers before us. We give praises to all of them and honor to our great Sibas and Sba-ts who have got us to this level, to the ancestors who came over on a diaspora, who jumped over the ship, and those who stayed on the ship, and those who went through all the suffering in the UPP. We give praises to them, but everybody has to understand that right now, you got the Naga up. You either Naga up or another and doop, doop, doop going down. I hate to use that word because that word is just it just digresses your cultural spirit. Your whole frequency just drops. When every time a melanated person hears that word, it's like magical to them. It turns them into stupid. Turns you right into Joe Stupid every time you hear that Nigger word. Because all it is more corrupted etymology. That's all they do. They play the etymological game on you. So we know that the NGGI without the vowels means Naga. And its symbol in our cultural spirituality and in our sacred science and our symbolism is the cobra, is the snake, is the serpent, it's the dragon, it's the lion, and it's all over the world. So we know that word is really a great word. But what they did was they understand what we taught them of frequencies, of vibrations, of sounds, of rhythms, of perturbations, in which this whole universe is collectively in tune with. So they corrupted the etymology. And all they did was change the word. So, and this is what they did through everything. And all they did was they added a fraction, which the equation becomes, they add a variant in the equation. That's all they do. They take our story and add a simple variant. And now their story looks slick, but it doesn't help you. And now it's history, but it was originally your story, like the story of God. Now, we don't worship God. We don't have no religion. Our people never had religion. Our people had a cultural, cosmic, collective consciousness spirituality. And its symbolism and its expression to us esoterically and metaphysically is within the symbolism of the universe and the Medunetta. Now, what they did was they corrupted you, where we believed in one creator. So we did have a monotheistic concept, but it wasn't God. We had a creator. And this creator, after speaking their name, because our creator was masculine and feminine, is androgynous. The he and the she principle is embedded at the beginning of our cultural spirituality to be there at the end. And so what they did was they took the Medunetta text of I am, Anuk, he, she, and they fed it back to you as I am that I am. And then they took the religious aspect of the spirituality of our cultural spirituality with the late first melanated person to even think about monotheism, which was Ankh-Aten or Ankh-Naten, and Atonism or Atonism. And they took this monotheistic concept and fragmented and put the variants and applicated through the Abrahamic doctrines. And this is where they added your corrupted mentality after they stole your time. So they're working on you from all angles, okay? They're working on you, and then you're on that food. So if you're eating this food right now, you're not understanding a word I'm saying. If you ate that chicken, if you're ready to eat that turkey, anything you eat, anything you worship or eat in that Gregorian calendar is going to bring about your downfall and your children's downfall. Okay, they severed you from everything. They stole your yesterdays. They denying you your tomorrow. The only thing you got is this present moment right now. This is what it's all about. It's called the Ptah, Sa, Ra. Ptah is the earth, Sa is the star, and Ra, of course, is the sun. And that symbolically represents yesterday, today, and tomorrow. This is the Ptah, Sa, Ra. This is the Medunetta. So you got to place the Medunetta within this whole conversation. We have to break it down scientifically and mathematically, sacred science, divine math, and then you have to triangulate it with your cultural, cosmic, collective, conscious spirituality. You can't relate it to God or religion because that's what got us in the predicament that we're in now. Mental, physical, spiritual, subjugated slaves. Can't think for ourselves. Ooh, God, I don't want to think about knowing and understanding God. They put fear in you. They can talk to their God. They can't even see. This is an invisible God now. They got you believing in a God you can't even see. Some Christian God you can't see. Some Islamic God, Allah, that you can't even see. It's going to take you to paradise. You got you talking in Abrahamic. They're all Abrahamic ideologies, by the way, because they're all from the same birth. Because the Abrahamic ideology has one paternal father, which is Abraham, right? So if the Muslims worship Abraham, the Christians worship Abraham as their paternal father. The Jews worship Abraham as their paternal father, okay? This is his story, okay? His story begins with, religiously, on their European comprehension, it begins with Abraham. And Abraham was a nomad. He had 16 wives. He had 64 children and 100-something grandchildren. And they just went from pot to land to pot to land. They was river pissers and sheep molesters. And then one of them that had a brain, his name, of course, was, what's his name? Joseph. And Joseph had a brain because Abraham just happened to be luckily on his nomad trips from pot to land. He moved towards the caravan route or the silk trade route. And Abraham, and Joseph used to go down to the caravan route, and he used to get information from everybody who comes by there. So he was learning how to read people's dreams, how to count, he was learning everything, how to read, write, speak. He was learning all this information on the run. Okay, so now we're talking here aspects of your corruption within the historical documents, which is all about bringing about your mental, physical, spiritual, subjugated slavery. Now, within this movement, they stole your spirituality by bringing you under monotheism, under a God you can't see. Now, and then when you go to reach your spirituality, your spirituality is spookism. Ooh, oh, yours is spookism. Yet they can have you believe in a God that you can't even see. You can't see him. Now, my netches, my gods and goddesses, my creator, they're right in front of me. They're called the cosmic forces that allow you love, guidance, and protection through the daily experiences of ponderable matter. And scientifically, it's called matter. Matter is mass weight. Anything that has mass weight occupies space. If you're a scholar, you should know that. But matter is the elements. Matter is nature. You don't believe in the nature rules, and they're not principles. Anybody tells you their principle is Hellenized in the bottom. I don't care what teacher it is. Have your teacher come see me. My name is Ptah Asar. The natures are not elements, and they are not principles. The elements are alive. The natures are alive. If you don't believe in the natures, do me a favor. Let's just make this simple. Take your hand, put it on your nose, and close your nose. Then take your hand and put it over your mouth and close your mouth so you don't get no air. So you don't see this air, but yet you're sucking it in every second. This is a nature. This is an element, and it's perpetuated through nature, through solids, liquids, and gases. That's how our ancestors described everything. So if you don't believe in the nature of air, that it's a principle, but it has principles, don't get me wrong, but it is not just a principle, okay? Our story has been so fragmented through our teachers, our own teachers today. We call these teachings contraband or contraband. Contraband is one black person conditioning another black person into mental, physical, spiritual, subjugated slavery. So when you hear it, you think it's slick. It's like in the 60s. I'm from the 50s. I'm a 50 baby, okay? I'm from the 50s, okay? I've been through everything from the Mau Maus, the Black Panthers, the whole 9 yards, through the drugs, through everything they used to take us out. I'm one of the last of the dinosaurs you got from the temple. I never went to school, but I studied every doctrine on this planet in the temple, okay? And what they did was, in the 50s and the 60s, when you went to jail, you became a Muslim. You became a 5%er because that's some slick knowledge. You thought this knowledge was slick, but they implanted this information there for you. Because if you're a Muslim, you still believe in God, monotheism. You still, under that Islamic calendar, you're still under the belief without your spiritualism. So now so this information back then was slick information, and it was beneficial to us at that time. Don't get me wrong. That information was good. Muslim, that Islamic information was, we ready now, we lining up with Malcolm and stuff. That was some slick stuff. But what did they do? Boom. They caught us in the nip, caught us sleeping, bam. And now they put us back into that Hellenistic paradigm doctrine. Where are we going to go now? We're going to follow Malcolm. We're going to follow Malcolm. We're going to follow Martin. Martin's going to lead you where? To the church. He's going to lead you to Christianity. Here you go. You're Hellenized in the bottom line. But he did what he was supposed to do, and blessings to the great Seba, Malcolm, great Seba, Martin, and all the other Sebas. They did what they did at the part that they could do. I'm here to tell you that they stole our time. I'm here to tell you that now, once you understand how to comprehend time, you're on the way. First you got to take the Gregorian calendar down from your wall. What I'm telling you, you're not even, what is he talking about? If you're eating his food, you woke up this morning, you didn't eat of the seed. They got 5 rules. Don't eat only of the seed. If it doesn't have a seed, don't put it in your mouth. Second rule is never eat and drink at the same time. The third rule is eat as the table earth prepares the food. The fourth one is never eat to your fill. Don't glut yourself. Don't overeat. You're gonna shut the body down. And the fifth one is fast occasionally. Very simple rule. Certain periods of years you have to fast to cleanse, detox, purify the body. First rule is never eat only of the seed. The only thing you put in your mouth that doesn't have a seed is water. And don't forget your mother's nipple. I keep forgetting about that. The only thing you put in your mouth that doesn't have a seed is your mother's nipple when you're a baby, and then water. That's the only liquid you put in there. Okay? So now you just follow these rules, and now you create a frequency. And this frequency will guide you to these cosmic forces. So when you are presented to this information, you have a body frequency, a bio aura. It has a frequency, and you're going to be attracted to it if you are one of the chosen ones. So now you have to understand that as above, so below. So you got to add everything together. We got to add our psychoscience, our divine math, and our cultural, cosmic, collective conscious spirituality to differentiate between our story and history. What it is that they could pass down to their children and descendants, how to maintain your mental, physical, spiritual, subjugated slavery for 4,000 years. It's not a 400-year story. That's diaspora or diaspora, tomato, however you want to pronounce it. This is 4,000 years, which is 2,161 years for one great age and 2,161 years for another great age as we're moving through the phenomenon of precession. This is what they're keeping you from understanding. You have to connect yourself to the 26,000 years of phenomenon of precession. The earth has 3 motions. It rotates on its axis, which is 24 hours and 35 minutes in every day. That's the first motion of the earth. The second motion is it revolves around the sun. 360 days under 24 hours and 35 minutes and 365 under 24 hours, which today we have 24 hours in every day. So now you got to get it together. You got to know about time. And now you know that the earth, the third motion of the earth is tilted 23.5 degrees from vertical, which makes the earth wobble. Now you were taught this in school. You all know this, but that's where they stopped it. It's called academia underachieving. They set you up for the fall. You know the earth rotates. You know that the earth revolves around the sun. And you might even know that the earth is tilted 23.5 degrees from vertical. But did you know that 23.5 degrees from vertical makes the earth wobble, and one complete wobble is 26,000 years, which they call the precession of equinox. We call it the phenomenon of precession. And once you come, but they won't tell you this in school, because when they tell you the phenomenon of precession, they have to tell you of our story, because this is the story of the stars. So what they did was they cut you off right there and put you under a lunar cycle calendar of a 30-day month. And this 30-day month is an agricultural calendar. It's a civil calendar. It's only meant to feed you. It feeds you, keeps your mind dead, so that you cannot become what you have at the moment of your birth, which is your divine birthright. We're here. Our story is about immortality, the story of the stars. And so, dua siva. So we have to be able to applicate. Once you understand what they did to you, you can't but understand how to get, because once to get back, it's like this. But you got to understand the device, the tool, the mechanics that they use, the insidious plan, the evil plan that they used upon you after they killed your family and enslaved you. They educated you with your own knowledge. They fragmented it. They corrupted it. And they plagiarized it. Then they regurgitated it back to you in an unholy manner as his story. So when you're talking about history, so you watch TV every day. All you see is the regular Mickey Mouse propaganda, and you see nothing of that relates to you. Now you see black people in the movie, you see the stereotypes, the drug dealers, the pimps and the hoes, and the whole regular thing. So this is all going in your mind. So now we got black people, Tyler Perry. We got great Mario Van Peebles, the great black producer. We got plenty of black producers, but what did they produce? The same silly obnoxious Hellenistic paradigm doctrines of stereotypical black people, because nobody knows our story. You don't know the story of the stars. You don't know the story of Asar and Aset. This is what we're here to awaken your vibrations and your frequencies to the first frequency specifically. But first, you got to understand the stars, because Asar and Aset becomes our cultural spirituality, but it is not the Zep-Tepi. To understand the origins of your existence, to understand who, what, where we are, you must know the origins of your existence. And if you understand that your origins came from God, like everybody in your family, I got them in my family too, that worships God, then you'll always be a mental, physical, spiritual subjugated slave, and your child will be a mental, physical, subjugated slave, and your next descendant or grandkid will be another subjugated slave going to the plantation every day. But guess what? The Neteru's work in mysterious ways. The best thing that happened was that they got a plague out here right now. Because now you can't, Dua, Hotep family. Now you can't go to the plantation. You're at home. Nobody's going to school. Nobody's going to the plantation. Now you got time to think. But you got the kids at home. You're all mad and upset because you're eating all that meat. You're mad at the kids because now you're around your husband all day. You was only trying to see your husband, when you got home from work, little food here, pop, bing, bing, and then, hey, see you in the morning. Now you see him every 24 hours a day, or your wife, you see your wife. Now you want to beat up your wife. Your wife wants to assassinate the husband, okay? Because the whole structure of the family, you have nothing. You don't know what to fall upon. All you know is his story. And then when you find our story, you're finding more corruption. The teachers don't even know our story. I'm wondering, I asked the Khemetic, first of all, I want everybody to know that I'm not in the Khemetic community. I don't understand. I don't subscribe to anybody in the Khemetic community. Okay? I'm from the temple of the Teshepura. I am a Tamarian. The Khemetic people, this is what this whole conversation began from. It began, yes, Queen Mother.
While you're explaining that, could you also share with everyone the word Khemetic in the title for the calendar?
Exactly. So this is really the Rasaurian solar silver lunar calendar and the Neteruological star timeline. But I wanted to introduce it to the Khemetic community because I'm here to bring forth this information from the ancestors to the Ramets, to the people. But the Khemetic community, they beat me down. They said, hey, I told them before the Romans and the Greeks, there was 9 days in every week. And time was kept by charting stars that were visible in our calendar, where the movement of the earth, stars, and moon, these ancient African indigenous primordial ancestors were cosmically in tune. In other words, we have to bring the temple to them, and the temple mathematical equation of the sacred math is 9. The magic number is 9. The mother equation is 9. 9 connects us to the universe. They said, oh no, it's 10 days in a week. There's not 9. And I said, yes, there is 10 days in a week under the lunar aspect of our calendar. We have a solar calendar, a sidereal calendar, and a lunar cycle calendar. The lunar cycle calendar has 30 days in every month. So that means the Khemetic calendar is correct. I didn't say it wasn't correct. That's the agricultural part of the calendar, but it's only good for feeding you. It can tell you when to grow the crops. It can tell you the woman's menstrual cycle. It can tell you the high and low tide, the birth and gestation, and when the now begins to inundate and recede. It's an agricultural calendar. And the moon, cycles of the moon, the waxing and waning of the moon takes 29 and a half days to wax and wane, to go from new moon to full moon. It's 29 and a half days. I mean, from new moon to the full moon, back to the new moon is 29 and a half days. The cycle, the waxing and waning, okay? Now, there's the Khemetic calendar right there. There's the 4 seasons, the 3 seasons. The 3 seasons are Shemu, Aket, and Pert. Oh, Aket is the first season, which the Egyptologists say is Aket, which Ptolemy says is Aket, which Bulge and Birches and Reisner and Ptolemy the first, Soter, Serapi, Septepera, Meriamen said is Aket. How can Aket be the first season? Everybody look at the top left register. you see that oval with the plants coming out of it. Underneath it, you see the circle with the T. That's Ket. And so that's the alphabetical. So when you learn Medunetta, you have to learn alphabetical, phonetical, unilateral, bilateral, trilateral, and your determinatives and so on and so forth to learn basic Medunetta. But that's Gardner's sign list. That's some European. So now here we go. This is Aket is the first month. Then they got Tahuti, which is the first month of Aket, but the rest of them are all corrupted there. That comes from the Coptics and the Greeks, okay? So now there's Shemu. So now let me just try to bring this together for you, because you got to get time together, and you're always going to battle our black people. They're the most corrupted people there are, okay? Our teachers are all hustlers and pimps, okay? I'm charging nothing for this information. This information is free. The counter, I'm charging you for a counter, but the information I'm giving you, I teach classes twice a week. It's free, $20. You're going to get 3 hours of classes. I mean, okay? But anyways, so let's just put it together. So I'm bringing the information to the Ramech because your teachers don't think you could count. It's bad enough the Ku Klux Klan and the Europeans don't think you can count. But when your teachers, the black teachers don't think you could count, I got a problem with it. So I'm bringing accountability to these teachings because they're on my watch. Yes, Queen Mother.
So let's provide everyone with an example of how they think that we can't count.
Yes.
So let's look at Sept and Oct and Nove.
Okay.
And
okay. Exactly. So well, listen. In other words, let's go past our teachers and our black teachers, the masculine and feminine teachers out there with that phony astrology and that phony Kemetic teachings that they teach because they don't even know who they worship. First of all, I'm gonna come back to what you want to say. I gotta lead the family up to this one, Queen Mother, okay? Because they need to know, okay? Okay, they need to know, all right? So they're getting their information from scholarship, okay? The scholarship is the theology or the theologians or the ecclesiastic people, and each and every scholar, European scholar, each and every theologian, and each and every ecclesiastic person who is teaching today, everybody knows there's 9 days in a week. Everybody knows there's 10 months in a year, except for the Kemetic community. They ostracized me, kicked me out of the Kemetic community because I'm trying to bring forth the ancient ancestral teachings of our primordial ancestors, which spans millions and millions of years ago. So now, you know that there are 12 months in a year. You know that January to December. So if you're a theologian and you're an ecclesiastic person, you're going to do your due diligence. You're supposed to be a scholar. How are you going to be a scholar? You don't know this information. This is the fabric of your essence is understanding this information, because this is how they keep you and your children mental, physical, spiritual, subjugated slaves. So they know. So all we know in scholarship, in etymology, is Latin and Greek. Everybody understands this, okay? So now January is the first month, which is Janus. And then you got February, and then you got Mars as their war god, the planet Mars. And then you got April is the Roman goddess of vegetation. And then you got Juno, which is Jew. After that, they ran out of names because their existence was only less than 200 years. It's a 300-year-old story, the Romans. This whole Hellenistic story is only got 300 years of substance. So they ran out of names. So they started with numbers. So we went from Sept, they got Octo, they got Nove and Dise. Okay? So now these are 10 months. Everybody, even the Romans knows there's only 10 months in a year. So there's 9 days in a week. So now we say, boom. So how do we get the 7 days in a week? Right? We got Dise, because December is Dise. Latin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You only got 10 fingers, okay? Dies is 10. So how come December is 12? How come Nove is 9? But yet it's our 11th month. How come Octo is 8? And octopus is the Latin root word for 8 is octo, like an octagram. has 8 sides. An octopus has 8 tentacles. It's 8, okay? But it's our 10th month. Does this not ring a bell to you? Does this not make you wonder that we have Sept is 7, but it's our 9th month? September means 7, but it's our 9th month? That's because of 2 historical figures. Their names are Julius Caesar, which is July, and Augustus Caesar, which is August. So now, pow, ping. But August and July is 46 BCE. How does this all connect? You got to Google first calendar reform, because in 754 AUC is when they began to hit the Kush kings, who were the last remnants of our great ancestral pride and rulership on this planet as our story was Sparta, Pianki, Tahaka, Shabaka, all the Kush kings and Kush queens of Nubia. And shout out to my brother Amru Amen in the Sudan. Siba, Dua, Paratapu, Ma Pamaachi, doing a great job. I see you got the tours going over to the Sudan, the Khartoum, over to Kerma, Napata, Meadoway, all the necropolis of the pyramids. You're doing a wonderful job. We will be doing a tour there right after everyone, me and the Queen Mother and everyone from the Nagaship Association will be making our trip over to Kemet and to the Sudan. We're gonna go up in Egypt and see the pyramids. We're gonna get away from all them Arabs and all that, all them camel jockeys up there. And we're going down to the Sudan, to the brothers, because the people in Egypt today are not Egyptian. They're the last people to conquer Egypt. Okay, the two Tamarians, and Egyptian is all, it's another Greek word. It's all corruption. Every time you got to express yourself, you got to watch what you say, because you'll Hellenize yourself. And so anyways, let's get back to this mathematical equation. Let's keep it together here, because I drift sometimes. My mind is moving at light speed. So I want to make sure everybody is following this academia consciousness, this understanding is so weak. They got so many weak spots in their story, in history, that why don't you see this? And they stole your time. So now we got 7 days in a week. But originally there was 9 days, right? How did we go? So the first calendar reform is 754 BCE. That's Eratosthenes and Aristarchus. Second calendar reform is 300 BCE, which is calendar reform 2, 3, and 4, which is the Decree of Canopus 1, 2, and 3, which is Ptolemy the 1st, 3rd, and 5th. Now we go down to Julius Caesar in 46 BC. He has to reform the calendar. Now we ask ourselves, here it is here. This is what we're leading to. Why do they have to keep reforming the calendar? This is the question. And the answer is they keep putting you on a lunar cycle calendar. Now, so everybody can understand this mathematical equation. We're going to bring it scientifically and mathematically when it comes to cosmic spirituality, but let's get the math out. Let's get the math, because they don't think you could count, family. They don't think you can count. So let me just tell you, under any calendar that has 30 days in a month is a lunar cycle calendar. Now, mathematically, every 130 years, one unearned day is added to the calendar. So you're not going to see it in your lifetime. Your child is not going to see it. And your next 4 descendants are not going to see it. But after 500 years, on the spring equinox, when day and night are equal, the sun drifts. And if you don't catch it, it keeps drifting. So after 800 years, the sun moves away from the spring equinox, and on the spring equinox is when you plant the seed. So if you plant the seed and the sun is not there, and you think it's there mathematically, but it's not, because you use the lunar cycle calendar, the sun drifts. So when you planted the seed, because it's an agricultural calendar, the crops didn't grow. And guess what? Everybody stopped. Enter calendar reform. So they had to keep doing this. So now 300 BC, that's from 754 BCE, which is AUC Alberbe Cotita, which means in Latin, upon the founding of the city of Rome. For you theologians, you scholars, do your due diligence. And so now, 300 BCE, when Ptolemy, who was a general of Alexander Hellenized the whole world. He conquered everything that was black and destroyed it and burnt all the books and changed it into the Greek Hellenized paradigm doctrines. And at this time, Ptolemy Alexander dies in India. He pulls lots because everybody's trying to divide up his kingdom. Ptolemy drew Egypt to the luck of the draw. So he gets to Egypt and the crops ain't growing. The crops are not growing. So he says, what happened? So now he understood what they did. They got the dossier. They read us out. They know what they did to us. They know they stole the calendar. They know they altered the mathematical equation. So enter the decree of Canopus. All you got to do is Google decree of Canopus, number 1. Then there's Ptolemy the 1st, 3rd, and 5th was the decree of Canopus 1, 2, and 3. Just Google the decree of Canopus 1, 2, and 3. And you'll see that Ptolemy, now the decree of Canopus number 3 is a stone fragment which they call the Rosetta Stone, just to give you some type of clarity. So the Rosetta Stone came from the decree of Canopus number 3, okay, in which Champollion broke and deciphered the Medunetta because they seen the hieroglyphics, they seen the Greek, and they seen the Coptic, and they found Cleopatra's name, and that's when they began to decipher and dissect and disseminate our ancient language, and then interpreted it again, fragmented, corrupted, and plagiarized, and then regurgitated it back to you into Godness, Signless, E.A. Wallace Bones, and so on and so forth. But we get into another story of the Medunetta. But let's just we'll talk about time here. So if you're a scholar, you have to know this. You have to know how they stole our time. You have to know that now. So now we got the next calendar reform comes at Julius Caesar. So because the crops aren't growing in Rome, the crops aren't growing. So now Julius wants to fix everything up because the Ptolemies are beefing. They got everything jammed up. The food because we're feeding Rome, we're feeding Europe. They're getting fed from the Nile. And so now Julius Caesar comes in on Cleopatra. He rolls up on Sasagni. Sasagni is the vizier of Cleopatra. And he says, I am Caesar. I came, io vidi, io bene, io veci. I came, I saw, I conquered, put me on the map. So we went from 9 days to 8 days. We went from 10 months to 11 months. Julius, through the Ides of March, he goes to the Senate. He gets assassinated. Enter Tiberius. Then Tiberius dies, and then came Augusta, who was the godson of Julius Caesar. He rolls up on Egypt and to get the taxes and stuff, and he says, I'm Caesar. I came, I saw, I conquered, put me on the map. So we went from 8 days to 7. We went from 11 months to 12. This is how the months got to 12. Have you ever wondered, where did July and August come from? That's Julius Caesar and Augustus Caesar. They don't even belong on the calendar. But they fragmented the calendar into this variant so bad, they got gaps they got to fill in. And they use this to Hellenize you. And so now you're a mental, physical, spiritual subjugated slave because you don't even know how to you're on the Gregorian, you're on the Greco-Roman calendar. This is Greco-Roman. So now we go to the next calendar reform, that's 46 BCE. Now we go to 135 AD, which is the Council of Nicaea. This is when they add, now they're putting a religious thing on you. This is historical evidence. This is history. We're talking about his story and our story. How did our story become his story? I'm trying to explain this to you. And it all comes around time. It comes around the calendar. So I'm presenting this calendar back to the family, but let's just find out if Ptah is correct or is Ptah Suto? Is Ptah running some fugazi foolishness like the rest of these teachers, or is he presenting some type of, is it founded in Maat? Now, this is my watch. This new age order, the great golden age of Maat is my watch. I'm the cosmic keeper of time. I'm not taking no foolishness from any of your teachers. Bring them to me. Bring them to Boston, Mass. Bring them to the Museum of the National Center of Afro-American Artists, where I reconstructed the royal burial chamber of Nesubitius Falter at the Museum of the National Center of Afro-American Artists, 300 Walnut Ave, Roxbury, Boston, Mass. Bring your dojo. Bring your gi. Bring everybody, and let's settle it out. You come to fight, or get in flight. Okay? I'm a military Hemtepi. I have no time to babysit. I'm not here to entertain. I'm sure not here to take your temperature. I'm only here for my Nagas, my Shemsurus, my Nesubitis, my Hemet, Sba-t, my immortal ones of Maat. I will lay my life down for you. All you niggas, all you dead, all you people that want to continue, because we're into a new age order. We're into a new age order where even if you don't believe the environment, we just passed through a 26,000 year cycle. We're back to year 1. That's why this is the Ipetenu Shabitam Twa Elu Pamaat, year number 10. This is year number 10. The Kemetic people think this is year 6,272, which is the most stupidest thing I ever heard in my life. You know why it's stupid? You know why what they call it nice? The original word for nice was silly and stupid, that you're a victim. You become a victim if you listen to these Kemetic people. Because if it's 6,200, don't mind me. I'm not biting my tongue for anybody. I'm here to present it to the Ramets, to the people. I'm here to present the information to the people and let you decide. I'm here to organize the meeting between them and the halls of double right, double truth to the scales of Maat. Come down to the Museum of the National Center of Afro-American Australia, where I reconstructed the royal burial chamber of Nesubiti Sba-t, then to the halls of double right and double truth for the souls purged of all sins, where you see the faces of all the Netheru. And you must pronounce the Usamedu Nefer, Hekau, Anuka Bet Kweb, Anuka Bet Kweb, Anuk Perto Tep, Anuka Perto Tep. I am pure, I come in peace, I come in peace. So I'm not here to babysit. Bring your teacher down to there. Your teachers, they don't talk to me. None of your teachers talk to me. I'm not going to bring up no names. There's only so many teachers in the Kemetic community. None of them talk to me. There's not 9. They can't even count to 9. It is the mathematical equation which it will free you. The frequency, it's the first frequency specifically. So now let's just continue with this narrative so that you understand how history stole our story. They won't bring you the story. They won't bring you a mathematical equation. We know now so let's use a calendar reform. This is how they did it. This is how the device, the mechanic that they stole, they do some type of smoke and mirrors on your eyes. And you're at the plantation every day. You work from 8 to 6. You come home, you eat that meat, your body shuts down, you gotta go to sleep. You wake up, you're back to the plantation, and when you woke up, you got on the wall, you seen the Gregorian calendar, oh shoot, it's Monday, it's Tuesday, it's Wednesday, it's Thursday. You're so Hellenized, and then you looked at your watch. Guess what? They got you coming and going. They got you on a watch time. If you're looking at your watch, you're under GMT, Greenwich Mean Time. If you're looking at your watch, you're under UTC, which is Universal Time Coordinated, which is Stonehenge, England. Stonehenge, England is what the Europeans made the center of the earth, is Stonehenge, England. How can Stonehenge, England be the center of the earth and it's 52 parallels north of the equator? Everybody knows that the Merku in Kemet or in Tameri, in Taneteru, I hate saying Kemet because it just is unless you can understand and appreciate the pronunciation of Meduneta, but to make it more into our story, I try to say Tameri. Ta means earth, Mary means beloved. It's the beloved earth. Ta Neteru, the land, the earth, the land of the Neterus, of the gods and goddesses of nature. It is Ta Neferu, the divine earth. Some people in the Sudan is called Ta-Seti. They call it Ta-Seti, which is the land of the bow, or the golden land, the land of gold. But anyways, so let's get you right through this mathematical equation, because you all have to understand what they did to you mathematically. Then we could break down the sacred science. Then we go into the cultural spirit. But let's get through the math first, because they don't think you can count. I'm here to bring the mathematical equation to the people. So the Kemetic calendar is a phony calendar, but it's correct. But it only operates under one aspect of your spirituality, under a lunar cycle calendar. So if you're under a lunar cycle calendar, you are severed from the cosmic environment. That's why they stole the solar and the sidereal aspect. Okay, but before we get back to the solar and sidereal aspect, let's just break down this lunar cycle calendar and what they did and what the Europeans did to place you into mental, physical, spiritual, subject and state, which you wake up every day. You're wondering, why can't I break my, because you're waking up following that mathematical equation and the variance of the lunar cycle calendar. And you're giving it to your kids, and you're under GMT and UTC. They don't even use it. The government doesn't even use GMT. And they use ZT. Please Google GMT, UTC, then Google ZT. ZT is Zulu time. They use Zulu time in Nassau. The government uses Zulu. The Koreans will not use Greenwich Mean Time. They just figure, oh, that's nigger time. I hate to use that word, but y'all got to knock her up or another nigger down. There's nothing I can do for you. Okay, I'm here to babysit. You have to understand that they said, hey, listen, that time was meant to keep black people subjugated, to keep the NIGGERs subjugated, not the NAGAs. We are NAGAs. We are Nagas. All they did was corrupted the etymology. We all know that from the earlier conversation. But let me just continue. So now So now we go to, so we know Julius Caesar and Augustus Caesar, but guess what? Now they hit you with the time. Now they're hitting you with your spirituality. They bring this guy in called Jesus. Here's a guy, they got you black people believing in Jesus, a guy that never even existed. The guy never existed. Now there was a Christ. There is always a Christ. The Christ means the anointed one. The Christ means the deliverer of the cosmic breath. Every time our sun passes through every great age, which is 2,160 years, 12 times 12 is 24,000 years, and 100 years comes up to 25, and so many years comes up to 26,000 years for the sun to go through each and every sign of the phenomenon of precession, which you call the zodiac. We don't call it the zodiac. The zodiac in Latin means zoo. The Greeks and the Romans called this the animals. There's a zoo. This ain't no zoo. These are the Netanus. So you got to understand that this, so what they did was they stole your spirituality. Now they added next calendar reform is 135 BCE. I mean AD. 135 AD. Please Google it while I'm talking to you. If you got an alternate wireless device, I'll just write it down and then do your due diligence later. You know, check me. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll tell you right now, I spent 50 years. I already know. And I ain't got no time to babysit. I got students that will babysit you. Ramu Tef Kweb will babysit you. Asma Tef Nut will babysit you. Kepler Ptah will take your temperature. You know, I got another Sba that will entertain you. I'm not the one. Okay? I'm almost 70 years old now. I'm 65 right now. And time moves too quick. I am not. And I plan on looking like this 175 years. I'm on the limit. I've been on the limit all my life. I was born in the temple. But anyways, let me just carry on with this conversation, this mathematical equation for the people. Because I want to present it to the people. Because they won't, I can't be invited to no other platform. So we created our own platform. They disowned me. They told me there's not 9 days in a week. Like I can't count. They're gonna molest my mind and then molest your mind. I got mothers crying, I got babies dying, and I have stars aligning. So I am not here to play with anybody. Your teacher won't talk to me. You know who they are. They won't talk to me. Your female teachers won't talk to me. You know who they are. They won't talk to you. Why won't they talk? Because they can't make no money on what I'm teaching. Because my teachings will frequentize you immediately. I'm only here to help you remember. Everything I'm telling you, you already know. It's in your DNA. It's a frequency. It's called first frequency specifically. So I'm not here to make money off you. I'm here to give you this free. But I expect everybody to have a $1 challenge here to send a $1. Everybody that's listening, please send a donation to the Queen Mother Goddess right here. Asma Tefnut. She spent all week preparing up these PowerPoints, these presentations. She's taking time out of her life to make sure to deliver this information to you. And it would please me very much if everyone at this time, if I could see a splash across the screen that somebody don't, please flash up your CashApp real large for them, Queen Mother Goddess, TNT, CashApp, bada bing, bada boom, while I'm having this conversation. Because last time we was on the show, I understand you're into the conversation. I go cosmic and we all get caught up in things. But right now, we take a time out, take a pause for the cause, for the Queen Mother Goddess, so that everybody can donate a minimum of $1. I'm expecting $25, $50 to come across the screen, okay? Because we're giving you back the blessings for your children. Okay, when you buy the calendar, make sure you take the calendar, and when you put it on the wall, if your children are 5, 6, 7 years old, you put it low so they can look at it. Wherever your child is, you make sure it's at the height when they walk by, they can see it. All right, so they can connect to a frequency. Even if you don't get it, even if you buy the calendar for a novelty. But even if you're already hot rocked into Jesus and Muhammad and Allah and every other filibuster that's running around here right now, taking away our spirituality, let the children have a chance. So let's just get the mathematical equation, because this is what you're going to do. It's called calendar reform. Just Google first calendar reform. We got 754 AUC. We go down to second calendar reform, which is 2, 3, and 4, which is the Korean Canopus, 1, 2, and 3, which is Ptolemy the 1st, 3rd, and 5th. Everybody got that? Write it down. Let's go. Now we go to the next calendar reform. Is 46 BCE, which is the Julian Greco calendar, Julius Caesar. This is when you learn what they did to you, because now you get able to put the mathematical equation from 754 to Julius Caesar, because the 754 BC, there was 10 months in a year. There was 9 days in a week. Oh, they had to get you now, because black people were starting to wake up, but they had to maintain. They knew, because as above, so below. This was the great golden age, coming out of the waning age of Aries, which is Amen Ra, to the great golden age of Pisces, which is Uncle Set. So that's 4,000 years. Okay, so now they knew that the great age of Aquarius, of Maat, Asar, which is aka Aquarius, was coming. So they had to devise an insidious, evil plan to keep you Hellenized. Then that became monotheism. Mono is Latin again for one. Theism is the belief in one God. And so now, 135 AD is the Council of Nicaea. Please write down Council of Nicaea, please. And when you look at the Council of Nicaea, it was all about, was Jesus the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, or was he all three, or what was he? I mean, because the Constantine, Roman emperor, he had to gather all these bishops together, and it's called the Council of Nicaea, because they had about 100 Essene Gospels, the Essene Gospels, okay? All these fabricated stories of this guy who was originally Asar, all they did was take our stories and rob them, and then when Ptolemy came to Kemet, he became Ptolemy the First, Soter, S-O-T-E-R, Serapis, September, Mary, Amen. Just Google it. You'll see the picture. You Google Ptolemy the First, Soter, September, Mary, Amen. You'll see the picture of Jesus. How did Jesus get from Ptolemy? And then they changed it to this Italian guy. It's the same. This guy never even existed. Of course, there is the Christ. All they did was took our star gospel. They knew the phenomenon of precession. They knew the earth spun, rotated, it revolved around the sun. It's tilted 23.5 degrees from vertical. It makes 26,000 years, and it's 2,161 years in every great year. And they knew every 2,160 years, as we come into the great golden age of one sign and leave the other one, there's a deliver. There is a cosmic frequency that delivers this divine cosmic revelation to the inhabitants, which were the Nagas, the Shemsurus, the Nesubitis, and they was to bring forth this information and bring it to the population. So now, this has been going on for millions and millions of years. It's called the Shemsurus and the Nesubit, and the Shemsurus and the Shemsu sets. There's only two types of people on this planet. You're not black, you're not white, you're a being, and this being has a thought process, a frequency. And there's two types of frequencies. You're either a Sethian frequency or you're a Harurian frequency. So the Harus were the Shemsu's Harus. Shemsu in Medunetta means a follower of, a child of, or a, right? And so and then there's the Shemsu set, okay? And excuse me, everybody. Excuse me, sir, I'm on the phone. I apologize. A lot of family members in the house today. So now let's take to the narrative, because all we're into mathematics. All this time is taking part on mathematics, because if you don't get past the mathematics, you're not going to understand when we go science and the cultural spirit. Because we're going to go cosmic after that. We're going to go into the origins of existence, the creation, development of the universe. We're going to break down the four primordial field forces of electromagnetism, the weak force, soul force, and gravity. We're going to break it down into the four primordial aspects of manifestations of Radha Teshara, which is Ptah, Temu, Ptah, Amen, and Kepra. We're going to bring it all together, break it down into the Medunetta text. We're going to produce the receipts, because this is like Crumb. We're going to give a shout out to Crumb TV. This is the Crumb TV edition. You know, Crumb TV brings receipts. We got receipts here. But let me just get you to the mathematics, because math cannot change. They can throw all the smokes in the world at you. But once you see mathematics in the stars, that is as above, so below. So let's get the mathematical. This way here, you can have a frequency. Math is geometry. Geometry is a frequency. It's all about frequency. It's about nerve, energy. So anyways, let's get back to, so we got 135 AD, just Google it, Council of Nicaea, and you'll see was Jesus the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. And so there's a guy named Arius. He's the Bishop of Egypt. He says, hey, Jesus is not the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. He doesn't even exist. He's Ptolemy the First, so Soter, Serapis, September, Mary, Amen. Everybody knew that. And so now Arius, he says, so now also Google, now what you want to Google to reconfirm, to solidify the point that Jesus never existed, Google Ptolemy the Eighth, Christius, Ptolemy the Eighth, Christius, and you'll see that he had the bishops of Christ, Ptolemy the Eighth, who his insidious plan after they took away our time was to take away our spirituality, which they corrupted from Serapis, Serapis, and Asar, which Ptolemy has a pot on his head, which means he is Soter. Soter in Latin or in Greek, it means, Soter means savior. So they just Google soteriology. They got a whole field. They got books this big on soteriology, how to maintain a black person's subjugation, to give them another belief system. It's called Soter, S-O-T-E-R-ology, soteriology. Just Google soteriology. Okay, this is all you have to do. Do your own due diligence. You're supposed to be young master teachers because that's just academia. Okay, so I'm not a scholar, but I have scholarship, but I'm not a scholar. I wouldn't call myself a scholar. I wouldn't insult my ancestors to call myself a scholar because that means I'm a Greek and a Roman. But let me just get past. I'm eating it up, Queen Mother. Let me just bring them to. We're at the Council of Nicaea. So on the Council of Nicaea, they said, was Jesus the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost? And so they killed Arius, and they said Jesus is the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. But that wasn't even what the Council of Nicaea was all about. Really, it was about, at the end of the Council of Nicaea, there's a footnote. And in the footnote, it says they moved Jesus Christ's birthday from January the 1st to March 21st. Oh, whoa. Now Jesus is born on March 21st. Why did they do that? Because they were so busy raping and pillaging our lands and raping our women and subjugating our people and oppressing our people with fear and enslavement and decapitating and crucifying. And every day of your life, you lived in fear, just like today. You wake up, you know you're scared to go down the street. They're going to stop you, pull you over, and put the knee on your neck. You know what they do every day. You know a black man go out of here, you might not come home. You know the fear and stuff that's in you right now. So now they knew. So the footnote says that Jesus Christ's birthday moved to March 21st. Why did they move it to March 21st? Because of the spring equinox and because they're so busy gorging themselves on our lives and our property and our resources of Africa that the next king's son or whoever ruled, he's so busy raping us, they forgot about the one unearned day that's added to the calendar because it's a 30-day calendar system. It's a lunar cycle system. So you have to remember every 130 years, one unearned day is added to the calendar. So they forgot. What the hell I care about one unearned day? What do I care about one unearned day? But that turned into 500 years, and they're still raping and pillaging us. We're still in enslavement. We're still being afflicted with this pain of mental, physical, spiritual, subjugated slavery. And so the crops didn't grow again. So the population was starving. The people who was running the country, they was eating, but the population was starving. Hence, calendar reform again. So the next calendar reform at the Council of Nicaea, which is in the Council of Nicaea, they tell you they changed the date because they had to reform the calendar. Then they had to give you Jesus, some Jesus Christ guy that didn't even exist, to get you believing in Jesus, because our people, we're just fickle like that. Because we have a belief system, we're trying to grab onto something, and so everybody's smoking us with all this foolishness. But anyways, the next calendar reform, so we got 135 AD is the Council of Nicaea. So now we go 1,000 years to 1000 AD. So now the sun has moved more than 12 days off the spring equinox. Then came 1585 AD. Just Google it, the Gregorian calendar. And in 1585 AD, Pope Gregory, there was no crops growing. They was living on rotten potatoes. That's how much they were just keeping everybody oppressed. They didn't even care if they died. And then the Pope Gregory came and said, whoa. And what he did was he waived, because the calendar, the Gregorian calendar is nothing but equity. Everything on the calendar is devised to kill you, is to keep about your demise, to keep you paying bills, to keep you just to eat this food on these days. Everything about these Gregorian holidays, days of commemoration, is designed to bring about your destruction. So now, here comes Pope Gregory, and what he did was he waived 14 days. Nobody's got to pay a bill. a bill collector. You don't have to pay nobody. Keep your money in your pocket. Don't worry about a thing for 14 days. Nobody in the European world paid any money. And then he reformed the calendar. He lined it back up with the spring equinox. And then he added the leap years in division of 400. So now, which they was using since Eratosthenes and Aristarchus in 754 BCE, with the lunar cycle calendar, they had a leap year. And all the way from Ptolemy 1, 2, and 3, Decree of Canopus 1, 2, and 3, Ptolemy 1, 3, and 5, and Julius Caesar and Augustus Caesar, they all had the leap year because they had to compensate for the variant in the lunar cycle calendar of the 130 years. That's how hard they're working on you mathematically. So Pope Gregory gets up here. Now Pope Gregory got divisions of 400 every leap year, and that's why every 4 years there's a leap year. And now every 3,000 years the sun moves off the spring equinox. So we didn't catch it back then or catch it now. We didn't never caught it. We didn't never see the drifting of the moon through the lunar cycle calendar because it was devised so that you wouldn't read. They made sure black people was against the law to read, write, speak your name, or know anything. But yes, sir, and no, sir. Okay? Keep your working 24 hours a day. You know the story. And then what you did know was in Latin and Greek, so you didn't know nothing. And now when you get the interpretation of Latin and Greek, it's all corrupted information, so you still know nothing. So that's where we're at right now, Queen Mother Goddess. I got them up through history. What do you want to take it from here?
Well, from here, I think we are going to share how they can receive their calendar, because as I told them they have seen the and heard reference to the calendar many times.
Yes, I got people. Somebody's Googling me now. Could you put your official global distributor and your PayPal and your Etsy account on the screen? Besides, take the Naga ship off and put your Etsy there and your Cash App, so somebody can donate some dollar bills to you, please, Queen Mother Goddess.
Yes, super.
Because I haven't been here for 2 weeks because I was really feeling bad about nobody not assisting the Queen Mother. You can buy all that marijuana, you smoke that Buddha blunts all day long, and you can't send the Queen Mother no do-re me. And we're here working for you. I work for you. I work for the people that I met. Don't send me a dime. I don't want no money. Don't send me a dime. Okay? This information is your information. I can't charge you for your own information, but the Queen Mother Goddess is putting in work here. She's putting in PowerPoint. She's putting in gas traveling, going here and there, and so everybody should contribute. So did anybody donate anything? There's no viewers here today? Are we like 1, 2 people watching or something? Did you get a donation yet, Queen Mother? But anyways, okay, continue. What do you want me to do, my great Queen Mother Goddess? I'm going to
look at the donations. See, what you're referencing is when you were on Crumb TV, Crumb had his YouTube channel monetized. So the donations as they came in, you would see them on the screen when people use that method. We don't have
okay. We
here.
don't have that method. Okay.
When I see them come in on the Cash App or the PayPal, or if there's another method people want to use, I will share that with them. But I haven't looked there. I will look right now. I see people have their calendar and other.
Okay, so while you're checking on that, Queen Mother, let me just keep this rolling here so that they can understand the mathematical equation. Now let's put the scientific data with the mathematical equation. So now you start to begin to see all that is history. All that is information to keep you a mental, physical, spiritual, subjugated slave. And it's in the public domain. It's in the public domain. How do you think they know how to keep you subjugated for these thousands of years? Because they're sharing information. And you're keeping you so that you're always under scholarship. And if you're under scholarship, you become a scholar. And if you're a scholar now, you could make $100,000 in the university, but you would never be your true self. You would be a European because you're looking through things through the eyes of your European conqueror, and you're still oppressing your people because you are perpetuating contraband. Now, this is the methodological star timeline. This equates scientifically and mathematically. So when you equate to this mathematics, so we have a solar sidereal and lunar cycle calendar. It's a 3-in-1 solar. It's a 3-in-1 calendar. And what I did was took the 3-in-1 calendar and made it 4-in-1 because I took the Gregorian calendar and I superimposed it right on top of our solar cycle lunar calendar because the Gregorian calendar is nothing but a plagiarized version of our calendar. All they did was change the variant. They just corrupted and fragmented it. Okay? It's like etymology. You change a vowel. In the calendar, they just change the number. And so the number becomes a balance of an equation, which equates to a frequency. So that's all they did. So I put it all together for you. It took me 50 years to do it, and I presented it to the Khemetic community. And the Khemetic community told me, I'm talking about Mario Beatty at Broward, Maketi Amen, Chicago, Richard Harris. They got a calendar. They have a calendar. I said it's a great year. It's a lunar cycle calendar. All I wanted to do was present it to the people. So now I've been shut off. So I'm at war now. I'm at war with our oppressors, and now I got my own family want to go to war with me. Now I'm not going to mention no more names, but all you got to do is research Egyptian calendars and African calendars, and you're going to see their names pop up. And if you look at their calendar, they got a 30-day calendar. They're still running on a 30-day calendar. That means if you're using a 30-day mathematical equation, you're using a Hellenized equation. Just like the Kemetic people think it's 6,270 something Sba-t. How can you even think that mathematical equation and you use the fraudulent Gregorian chronological timeline to count backwards to 0? Then you count upward because they go back, right? We go back to 0 is AD, and when you go after 0, you count up, it's BCE, right? That's how their time way is going. They got you coming down and going up. You don't know which way you're going. So that's how simple time is right now. You were born at Lionsgate. You were born of the Golden Lotus. The Golden Lotus is a symbolic reference to when the great golden age of 26,000 year cycle comes back to 0. You are fortunate enough to live through the 2 great ages, the great golden age of Pisces, which is Set or Uncle Set, and the great golden age of Maat, Asar, which is the age of Asar, which is aka Aquarius. So now we're lived in 2 great ages. In the year 2012, on December 21st, the sun passed through the center of the Milky Way galaxy. And at this time, this indicated that the sun entered into the sign of Pisces, coming out of the end of the age of Pisces, right here. At the end of the age of Pisces, enter into the age of Maat Asar, indicates, because Pisces is 2 fish. European astrology says that Pisces is 2 fish going in opposite directions, okay? Which represents confusion in astrology. But astronomically, it represents, the symbol for Pisces is 2 half circles with a line connected, or 2 half circles intersecting, which represents the binary movement of our sun Ra and Sba-t, Sirius. Sirius and Ra are binary stars. Our sun Ra has a binary star, which is Sirius or Sba-t. And they do a dance. And every 1,461 years, it's at its closest. And then as 1,400 years, it's at its furthest away. It's doing a dance. So this dance is represented in symbols in modern Western astrology as this half circles that are entwining, or 2 half circles that are connected with a line. This is symbolic mysticism. This is sacred science, symbolism that's been passed down for ages to the Medunetta that they just corrupted on you. So now we know, bing, we know that now this represents, we're seeing this through ponderable matter with your own eyes. You don't need me to tell time. It's so simple for you right now because all the stars are lined up. All you have to understand is that on the spring equinox, on the Gregorian calendar, which is March 21st, when day and night is even. This way we connect our story with history. We use history as a reference, but we know on March 21st, when day and night is equal, they call it the spring equinox. So all you got to do is relate to it as day and night is equal, and you know what day it's going to be on. But if you want to give a reference, you use the Gregorian calendar. Hey, oh, day and night equal, spring equinox, you know where to line it up at. Now, on the spring equinox on March 21st, in the morning, before the sun rises, all you got to do is go outside and look to the east at the sun. And before the sun rises, you look 23.5 degrees up this way from horizontal, and whatever constellation is right there is where we're located on the galactic plane of our quadrant Milky Way galaxy, or what sign we are in. Okay? And then on July 25th on the Gregorian calendar is called the Helical Rising. This is the first Helical Rising is on March 25th, when we're able to define where we're located on the galactic plane, or what sign of the phenomenon precession we're passing through. And then we know that on March 25th, or July 25th on the Gregorian calendar, on the Giza Plateau, 30 longitude, 30 latitude, on the Nilotic Meridian, from Giza down to Ptah in Ethiopia, down to Nabta Playa in Sudan, all the way down to South Africa to Adam's calendar. This is some of the schematics he's showing you right now. This is it's all part of the public domain. They all know it. Everybody knows about black people. All you got to do is do your own due diligence. I already did it for you. I'm going to lead you right there. I'm going to lay it right there on the plate for you. And watch your teachers won't even bring it up. No one will bring it up. They still want you to sleep because they know black people sleep. We love taking naps. We did so much work for millions of years. Shit, we taking a nap today. Okay? Oh no, we got to be lazy and shifty and all kinds of all this NIGGE crap. Okay? But no, you got to understand that now the Merku, the Great Pyramid of Kemet or Tameri, which they call Egypt, on the 30th longitude, 30 latitude, is built on 30 longitude, 30 latitude, which is the center of the earth. So our ancestors knew the center of the world landmass 500 over 10 million years ago. The pyramids are not 4,000 years old. They telling you, history telling you that the pyramids are 4,000 years old, so it lines up with Jesus and the Hebrews building the pyramid. No goddamn slave built no pyramid. No white person built no pyramid. Never built a pyramid. How could they build a pyramid? So now, how do we know this is true? Because the air shaft, they call it air shaft, they're really star shafts. The star shaft in the south points to the constellation of Orion. That's the head of the Sphinx of Helical, looking east at the sun on the spring equinox. And this indicates when you look before the sun rose, before the sun got to that point there, before it rose, there was a constellation right there. And that's how our ancestors knew where we was located at. It's very simple. Our ancestors, the monuments are still there. They know that the Sphinx enclosure is eroded with water visas. And this water visas, these lines of erosion, doesn't come from sand and wind, because sand and wind erosion erodes sideways. These erosions are visas. They're called visas. They're cracks. And these cracks represent water erosion. So how can there be water erosion and there's not even rain in there? There's a desert there. There's no water there. And the last time there was precipitation or accumulated water was during the last ice age, which is 12,000 years ago. That's how we use the methodological star timeline. How can we count back 12,000 years? Because each sign is 2,161 years. So we know that 10 years ago, the constellation of Pisces fell below the horizon in the spring equinox. When you look on March 21st, you look east, Pisces is no longer there, not even the head or the tail. It has fell below the horizon. There's a constellation there now is Aquarius, which we know as Asar or Maat. And that constellation is going to be there for 2,161 years, whether you're here or not. Get it together. Pull yourself together here. Okay? So we know where we're at. Okay? We know where we're at. So we know mathematically it's 2,160 years. So we count backwards. So let's count backwards. Pisces, which is Uncle said, which is blue. Pisces is water. It's a water sign, so it's blue. It's a color code here. Everything our ancestors wrote things in the stars and in a color code. in a mathematical equation. Okay, that's how we lasted so long, because they didn't know how to count. Now they got you, so you don't know how to count. They're gonna tell me you're supposed to be ruling the world now, and because it's our time. So what they did was, so that we would know, they stole time. I wouldn't give this planet back to you niggas either. What you gonna do? Bring Jesus to me? You gonna bring Muhammad to me? You gonna bring Buddha? You need to not know those. Okay, we gotta. It's gonna be collateral damage, and it's gonna be environmental relapse. It's gonna be natural disasters, because where we're at now, the Neptunus are gonna come forth. We're gonna have tidal waves. We're gonna have tsunamis. We're gonna have every earthquake on the planet, every volcano on the planet has been erupting, and you don't even know. They got landslides. They got flash floods. They got a new one. They got a new one for you. It's called a mud flash. And a mud flash, you know, a tsunami after the earthquake, the tsunami comes of waves of 450 feet, 100 feet, and they move 500 miles per hour across the land. Whoo, in an hour, it moves from the United States to Japan. Whoo, a tsunami. Okay, well, they have what they call a flash flood. A mud flash. A mud flash. You got a mud flash moves as fast as a tsunami, and it's an accumulation of the earth. The earth breaks down. It liquefies. It liquefies after the tsunami, and the tsunami and the earthquake, and then the water hits the land, and the land liquefies, and the land turns into mud, and the mud builds up over 50 feet to 100 feet. They're called mud flashes. This is called extinction protocol. We've been through this. This isn't the first time. They know this because of earth sediments. They dig down the sediments, and they see the ash from the volcano. And then the ash from the volcano, the next sediment is water, and then it's soot, and then it repeats itself. It's a repetition cycle, and this happens every 26,000 years or every 12,000 years. And also you got magnetic north, which is because the Earth is tilted 23.5 degrees from vertical. But you got to add in magnetic north, which is not vertical. Vertical is just an application for a schematic in order for you to understand that the Earth is tilted 23.5 degrees in the phenomenal precession. But the Earth is alive and it has magnetic north. It's electromagnetically charged. And that makes the South and North Pole. And so magnetic north moves. And as we just completed a 26,000 year cycle through the phenomenal precession, and we at year number 10, and now our sun is moving into the cosmic rift, which we know now as the photon belt. Show the picture of the photon belt, the constellation of Pleiades, Queen Mother Goddess, because we are ruled by Ra, and Cyrus does a binary dance. And Cyrus is hooked up to the constellation of Orion. But the constellation of Orion is hooked up to the Pleiades, the seven sisters, which they call the seven Hathor sisters, which are the seven senates or the seven sisters of Helical. But in European astrology, they call it the seven Hathor sisters. But we know it in our sacred science as the seven sisters of Helical, and it's the Pleiades. The Pleiades' major star is Alcyone. And Alcyone, and when all this line, there it is right there. There's your schematic right there. Okay? That white ring there is called the photon belt. And that little, see at the beginning of the photon belt, there's a little niche there. That niche or that gap there is the entrance. It's a 2,000 year period. And it happens every 12,000 years. It lines up with Alcyone and with Cyrus and Ra and the Earth, our solar system, all the planetary conjunction sends out a frequency. And we line up with this because our sun is beginning a new journey back around the 26,000 year cycle of the phenomenal precession. And so the sun goes to the cosmic rift, and it comes encapsulated in a gaseous bubble because the sun has to begin a new cycle, and it has to go through this gaseous bubble because that's what's happening to us now. This ain't our first rodeo. This ain't our first dance. This ain't our first date. We've been here thousands and thousands of times before. That's why they call them prophecies. How do you think they know it's a prophecy? Because it's already been done and they written it down. Okay, send a message for the people coming up in the next 20,000 years. This is what's going to happen. It's in the Medunetta text. That's why if you got a teacher that's not teaching that, what are they teaching? Gardner? They're teaching you. They don't even know who Ra-Nebuchadnezzar is. I asked the Khemetic family who you believe in. Somebody told me Amen-Ra. One of your great teachers said they believe in Amen-Ra, which is the most stupidest thing I ever heard. How can you believe Amen-Ra as the creator when Amen is the fourth attribute of manifestation of Ra-Nebuchadnezzar? Amen is a primordial field force. But Amen-Ra is a star date. All you got to do is Google the Temple of Karnak in Luxor in Egypt. They have this temple has an avenue of sphinxes with ram heads. And this avenue of sphinx with ram heads is orientated to the spring equinox. And when the sun came into that constellation 2,000 years ago, because that 4,000 years ago, because it lasted for 2,400, it came Pisces. When that sun came into that constellation of Amen, Amen became Amen-Ra. Because this is the sacred science, as above, so below. So Amen-Ra is a star date. How can Amen be the creator? Okay, now, before that age was the age of they call Taurus, which we know is Ptah, because in the Shabaka stone, or the cosmology of Menefa, where the Shabaka stone was found, or rather the Shabaka papyrus text, in which Shabaka, who was a 25th dynasty Nubian Kush king, he found this. Oh shit! Oh man, this text here, that's got the Zep-Tepi. That's the word. Man, put that in stone. Okay, that's how it became the Shabaka stone. But it was found in the temple of Menefa, and the Shabaka stone is based upon the cosmogony of Ptah became the supreme being. Now we know Ptah cannot be the supreme being because Ptah is the second primordial field force, which is the strong force, and we know that Ptah is the second attribute of manifestation of Ra Never Teshera, which we'll discuss later if we got time. And so, how can Ptah be the supreme being? Because Ptah at that time is a star date. It's the constellation of Taurus, because the temple of Menefa was built on the cardinal axis of the spring equinox, and the temple was pointed to the spring equinox, and the spring equinox during the great golden age of Taurus, which is Ptah. So the temple is the teaching. The temple lines up with this constellation because the teachers are not going to be there, but the temple will always be there. So we incorporated all the esoterical, the string and strand theory. Everything is embodied within the temple. The teachings of the physical, the spiritual, and the mental. Man, we must have been on for 2 hours because I'm running out of battery. But we're trying to get to this time thing. What time we have now, Queen Mother? Oh, we're almost up to 2 hours. Okay.
Yes, we are.
Okay. I just want to get down to this. Just want to give them the reference to this. But I think so. Let me close it up with So I just wanted to show you how you teach with this 6,270 Sba-t with the Khemetic community, thinking that this is the year. So I'm telling you, this is year number 10. How do we know it's year number 10? Because in 2012, bring the schematic of the one with the Zodiac. I mean, the one with the black hole, the Milky Way galaxy, the aerial view looking like a hurricane, and then the side view, and with the sun moving through it. And so, anyways, so now we know it's year number 10 because on December 12th, 2021, December 21st, 2021, which is the winter solstice on the Gregorian calendar, the sun passed through the center of the Milky Way galaxy. There it is right there. That's the sun on December. Now show us another one. That's the sun on December 12th, December 21st. There it is right there. Boom. There it is right there. Can you blow it up? Can they see it? Can they see it? Leave it right there for them. Take a few screenshots. Let them, there you go. Okay? There's the sun moving through the center of the Milky Way galaxy. That was 12 years. That was 10 years ago. And at that time, we know that on spring equinox, at that precise moment, on December 21st, when they got the Maat, the constellation of Pisces was no longer visible. And it will not be seen again for 24,000 years on March 21st, or when day and night are even on the spring equinox. When you look, the constellation of Pisces will never. That's called the ecliptic plane. The ecliptic plane. Here it is on our Ipitadu on the back part. This is called the legend. The first line going this way. The first line going this way is the 23.5 degrees. The top green line. The top green line goes down. That's tilted 23.5 degrees from vertical, which makes the Earth wobble. That's the 26,000-year cycle. It's called the phenomenon of precession. If anybody's talking to you about time and doesn't mention the phenomenon of precession, if they don't mention the phenomenon of precession, they're talking about his story. But once they add in the phenomenon of precession, they're talking about our story. And the second line represents the ecliptic plane. This is what the zodiac, the phenomenon of precession, which is the 12 signs of what you know as the zodiac, passes through each and every, the sun passes through each and every sign. Okay? So now, this is how you know it's not 6,272 years. I mean, what they think, you just flip ahead? They treat you worse than the Ku Klux Klan, the Khemetic community. Nobody's going for this information. That's why they kicked me out of it. Because I got 9 days in a week, and I'm not going for those 6,000. Am I stupid? You just use the fraudulent Gregorian chronological timeline to count back. You use your slave master's timeline. Okay, does everybody understand this? You just use your slave masters, colonized masters, to use his system to count backwards to try to find your origin. So do you actually think he would lead you that way? Are you actually that simple or that's nice? Which you Google the word nice, you see it means stupid. It means gullible. That's what the original interpretation for nice. Now in the Webster Dictionary, nice means what you think it means. But before, nice was a victim. You was a victim. There are predators out there every day. So now understand, it is not 6. This is year number 10. How is it year number 10? The sun passed in to the constellation of the sun. Pisces Uncle said drop below the rising on the spring equinox in 2012 on the Gregorian calendar. So now we're lining up. We don't even need no one now. We got the stars. We got ponderable matter. We have visual confirmation. Okay? You don't need me. I'm only here to help you remember. You won't need these teachers. They teach you so you become, you just keep carrying on that simple tradition so that the next generation becomes stupid. A more stupid generation till we got everybody with their pants underneath their belt again, like they are now. That's stupid. That's just from the teachings. Because in our cultural, cosmic, collective conscious spirituality, the son becomes stronger than the father. The daughter becomes stronger than the mother. I'm a Sba. Sba in Meduneta means teacher. But Sba also means in Meduneta student. Because the student becomes the teacher. And in the creation, in the theme of the creation, Ra Nebuchadnezzar, who found his way through discharging or escaping or freeing himself out of the primary ocean of nothingness, became stronger than Nu, became stronger than his father, because we went from a state of energy, thought, feeling, and non-motion to energy, thought, feeling, and motion, which is another story for another time. We just wanted to bring you up to date as best I could, because I'm like tough on y'all, because I love my Shemsu, I love my Nesubittis. I just want you to see with a clear eye that you can. So now let's get that math. Let's finish the math here. This is year number 10. 2012 is year number 1. 2013 is year number 2. 2014 is year number 3. 2015 is year number 4. 2016 is year number 5. 2017 is year number 6. 2018 is year number 7. 2019 is year number 8. And 2020 is year number 9. But they're starting at January. We start in July on the Helical rising. So our year, so we collect that 6 months and it becomes year number 10. Very simple. Because I finessed and manipulated the variant from the Gregorian. It took me 50 years to figure this out. I got 50 years of love for you. I got nothing but Nebu Mer for my Shemsurus, my Nesubittis, and my Hemets, my Sba-t, my Mutnatats, my immortal ones of Maat cherish. I got nothing for the Shemsu sets. I got nothing for your teachers. I'll expose all your teachers for the frauds they are. Now they're great men. They just missed the class. I don't know what happened, but it's affecting us right now. Right now, somebody comes to the table with a new plate, with a new vegetarian plate, and you look at it like I just brought some pork or some chitlins or some freaking hamburger to the table. Somewhere there's a problem. Why aren't they embracing me? Okay, so you have done. I've been to Shock Metaphysics Virtual Khemetic Wisdom School. I've been on many of these platforms. They all chased me away. They defamed my name, character assassination, but it just made me stronger. Now I get invited on one program, but they won't bring me back for another 2 years. We have our own Naga ship, the Nagatian Institute of Cosmic Awareness, Spiritual Consciousness, and Universal Enlightenment. We have the Naga Ship Association and the Naga Ship Association Telecommunication Multimedia Platform, which is what the Queen Mother Goddess. She's in charge of all telecommunication and promotions, everything that deals with anything within the media. This belongs in the realm of our great Queen Mother Goddess, Sba-t. And we have our own secure social media. Do you have the link for that, Queen Mother Goddess? Where you could join our social media platform, just like Facebook, just like Twitter, just like Instagram. We got the Nagatian, the Naga Ship Association. We are the Naga Ship Association. You got to get on the ship that flies like Ra. I know you're nature. It's time to stand like Ra. Listen to me, people. I'm on a mission from Ra. That's from Helical. I transition Sba, the great Helical. I do not own the record. I do not own the right to that song. That belongs to the Hemtepi Helical, the high priest of the White and Gold Lotus Temple, Stone Mountain, Georgia, and his Hemet. Aset Mary Amen. I dedicated all my shows to this great Sba. His name is Helical. He is the Hemtepi, the high priest of the White and Gold Lotus Temple, Stone Mountain, Georgia. He just passed away 2 years ago, and he spent his whole life. Me and him, I met him about 20 years ago, and I've been working with him all through the time that I knew him, and he perpetuated your spirituality every day. And his dream was that one day the family would come together in the Abakaku. The Ab is the heart, the Ba is the soul, the Ku is the spirit, and the Ka is the double. The Ka represents light and radiation. This hooks you up with the whole concept of self-creation. But anyways, in the Abakaku of the Samai Tawi. Samai Tawi means the unification of the two lands, Upper and Lower Kemet. But we use it in a metaphor, cosmic metaphor, as the coming together and the unification of our people, of our cultural, cosmic, conscious spirituality. Under one, this is how the calendar in Medu Netta is called Ipet Heru. Ipet means to measure. Heru means day. So we call it Ipet Heru. Riketi Amen, Mefundishi, Samaj Ptah. Many people in the Khemetic community, they use the word Ipet Heru. In Teshapura, we call it, so this is called the Ipet Heru, but it's also called the Sba-t Mtwa Heru Maat. We call it Sba-t. Sba-t means shadow. Sba-t Mtwa, and the shadow, and Mtwa means star. Sba-t Mtwa Heru, Sba-t means shadow, and the star, and the sun. Sba-t Mtwa Heru, and Maat means upon the doctrines of Maat. Because the shadow, there's no shadow unless the light shines as radiance upon anything that's solids, liquids, and gases. It's going to produce a shadow. And now you begin to apply the metaphysical concepts and produce the mental vibration by understanding as above, so below. So if the sun produces a shadow, what is the shadow? So you ask yourself, what is the shadow? You don't know. Don't nobody know. They just say it's a shadow. But I bet you if the sun gets up to 100 degrees, your little monkey butt's going to jump in it to get that shade to cool off, right? You know that you could get in the shadow to cool off, right? So, but now when you start to use your cultural spirituality in our story, you know that the light is atomic energy. And when the light shines its radiance upon anything that's physical, solids, liquids, and gases, it will cast a shadow. So if the light is atomic energy, then the shadow becomes subatomic. Now you begin to comprehend and visualize that which was once incomprehensible, now becomes revealed. The universe becomes revealed because now you're applying the sacred science and the sacred teachings and symbolism of our ancient African indigenous primordial ancestors, which are the teachings of our story. So we know that this light becomes a mirrored image, that the shadow becomes a mirrored image of the light, and the light becomes heat, and shadow becomes radiation. So we know this is why we worship Ra Neverteshra, who is the master and possessor of light and radiation, of heat and movement. This is in your Hesi. So we apply this word Shabbat. So I put Impeteru because, like I said, this is the Khemetic calendar also. They wanted there's part of the family, but most Khemetic people are Shemsu Set. Okay? There's only a few Shemsu Herus in the Khemetic community, and I'm reaching out to them right now. We are Shemsu Heru. They call themselves the guardians of the Ankh. First of all, the Ankh does not mean life. They got you so bedaggled, so stupid that they told you that this means life. This does not mean life. In scholarship, it means life. In the Hellenistic paradigm doctrines of it, it means life. But in our cultural cosmic consciousness, this does not mean life. It means being. That's why we say in the Hesi, life, Ankh, life, being. Because you can comprehend the aspects of life through this symbol, but that's not all it means. To go deeper into its esoterical meaning and to find out the questions of who am I, where do I come from, why am I here, and where am I going, then you need to apply the esoterical cosmic metaphor of our symbolism and spirituality by understanding that this means being. So now let's check it out. We got to break it down. So don't tell me it means life. And you can't explain it to me scientifically, mathematically, and with our cultural cosmic, because you always have to triangulate. Our story must be triangulated. Does everybody understand this? We have to triangulate our story at all times. That means sacred science, divine math, and cultural cosmic conscious spirituality. Then you have to add astrology and astronomy in order to have absolute accountability and star validation. And you have to understand how to produce the meduneta in the proper resonance and sound and frequencies to produce the proper vibration. So now let's figure it out here. Ankh does not mean life. It means being. So now let's break it down. Okay? First, we break it down into its components. There are 4 components. These 4 components scientifically relate to the 4 primordial field forces, which is electromagnetism, weak force, strong force, and gravity. And then we reflect that as a mirrored image within the sacred science as the 4 attributes of manifestation of Ra Never Teshuvah, which first is Temu, then he becomes Ptah, then he's Amen, and then he's Kepra. These are all the natures of self-creation. And when they all came, and then when he took on these 4 forms, the creator, the he, the she, the mother and father, they became Ra Never Teshuvah. And this is in the pyramid text, it's in the Mastaba text, it's in the Coffin text, it's in the Shabaka stone, it's in the Kemenu, it's in the Book of Knowing the Evolutions of Ra, the Rhyme Papyrus, the Book of Overthrowing of Pepi. It's in each and every Medunetta text. It's in front of the paws, inside the paws of Hedukuti, the dream stella of Jehuti Mes. They have on the second register down, on the stella of Jehuti Mes, which is in the paws of the Sphinx that you might know it as. We call it Hedukuti or Sekhmet. And in between their paws, there's a dream stella of Jehuti Mes. And on the second register down, on reading from right to left, you'll see that he gives reference to Nebuchadnezzar. So they know the creator as Nebuchadnezzar. In the pyramid text, he's Nebuchadnezzar. Everybody knows he's Nebuchadnezzar, except the Khemetic community. They don't even know who Nebuchadnezzar is. And if they do, they don't tell you who he is. So why won't they tell you who your creator is? I can tell you who he is mentally, physically, spiritually. We can break him down tangibly, scientifically. I could take you to CBR, Cosmic Background Radiation. Just Google CBR. Very simple. CBR. It means Cosmic Background Radiation, or CBMR, Cosmic Background Microwave Radiation. And they'll show you an egg-shaped anomaly. This egg-shaped anomaly, because of its red and blue heat signature, they know it to be the molecular appearance of the source of all creation, or the source of subatomic space. My ancestors knew of this egg-shaped anomaly 5, 10 million years ago. There it is right there. That is the creator right there. Okay? My ancestors, so NASA has a satellite that's the Hubble, a cousin of Hubble, the Hubble telescope. I know everybody knows the Hubble telescope. Hubble has a cousin called COBE. Just Google Cosmic Observatory Background Explorer. COBE. COBE. And they're going to show you CBR. That egg-shaped anomaly they call CBR, Cosmic Background Microwave Radiation. But they know it to be the molecular appearance of all creation because of its red and blue heat signature. Just how they know how fast time, the space, that the stars are expanding the universe, because some stars are red, and that's in my book. That's my book, The Cosmic Egg, aka The Primeval Germ, a journey of 59 plus 21 zeros. This is the story of the stars. This is the story of the self-creation of Ra Never Teshuvah. We break it down scientifically, mathematically, and with our cultural, cosmic, spirituality. I gave the book to the Khemetic community. I read every book in the world. I said, listen, only read 2 chapters a day because you're going to freeze your brain up. That little Gerber running around your brain on that wheel that you think you read every Hellenistic book. You read every corrupted book. You haven't read every book from our story, because our story is cosmic. And they read the book. They read 2 chapters and put the book down. It's still up on their shelf. It's like a piece of memorabilia. They don't want to read it because they're scholars. Scholars can't read this book. I gave this book to all the great teachers, and not one of them has called me back. You can't read this book without asking a question. I don't care who you are. I'm not going to mention no names. You know who they are. They won't read the book because they're so busy pimping you. They're so busy hustling you. They're so busy corrupting my family with the Shemsu said information. Because if you don't know how to tell time, they still tell you. I'm not going to mention no names. I'm not going to be the rat right now because I'm not a rat, but I'm going to be a rat in a minute. If I don't see one of these Sebas break bread with me, I'm going to bring the names up. How can you start a show off? Welcome to Sunday's spiritual class here. He just Hellenized you. He just brought you to Sunday. He started you off the rip with Sunday. And you didn't even catch it. He had a great seminar today. You got defrequencized, you got Hellenized, you got lobotomized, you became just as stupid as him. Don't mind me. I don't have nobody. I pay my tributes to the Creator. I don't listen to none of these Sebas. They got nothing to tell me. They don't want to tell time, which is my divine birthright. That's going to lead me to immortality. They don't want to connect to the Creator, Ra Never Teshuvah, which is clearly symbolized. We didn't even go through all the breakdown. I can break it down 5 more times, but we're running out of time here, and I move at light speed. That's called the Perhemet. The chapter of coming forth by day, the Ptah that E.A. Wallace Bulge calls the Book of the Dead. It's not called the Book of Coming Forth by Day. That's Gardner's interpretation. That's Bulge's interpretation. It's definitely not called the Book of the Dead. It's called the chapter of coming forth by the speed of light. So when you see the house symbol and you see 2 feet walking with the T behind it, it means Pert. Pert does not mean to come. It means to come forth. It's a verb. But it means coming forth by light, by the speed of light, 198,000 miles per second. That's the measurement of the base of the Great Pyramid through pyramidal inches and sacred cubic, which Einstein says that light moves at 186,000 miles per second. Okay? Time is the movement. There it is right there. That's Pert. That's the rising, the coming forth of Sba-t. The pyramid that's spiked there with the T and the star is Sba-t. The house and the mouth and the T with the legs means Pert, to come forth. Okay, and this means substance coming forth at the speed of light, because that's how fast the light moves. Because we're talking about stars, we're talking about atomic energy. So when you break down this interpretation, you don't break it down with Gardner's sign list, or as Champollion would tell you. They told you, go back to that symbol, Queen Mother. There it is, there, right there. The top piece is the T. The T, then Gardner's sign list is a raised loaf of bread. They say your colonizers who teach Medunetta told your teacher that was a raised loaf of bread. When all actuality, Medunetta is a frequency. That top symbol is alphabetically known as the T. So for your pronunciation, you have to learn the alphabetical, phonetical, then you learn unilateral, bilateral, trilateral, and of course the determinative. Okay, so now here we go. And so the T, it represents the primordial mound, because everything has to relate to the concept of self-creation, to the first frequency, which are the primordial field forces, And 1 second, please, family, because I don't want to be disturbed with
with the primordial field forces. There we go. Sorry about that, family. The primordial field forces, so that becomes Amen is the mount. So the creator took two forms of attribute manifestation. He's Temu, electromagnetism. Temu means to Meduneta means to think. Temu and Meduneta means thought. Temu and Meduneta means to plan. And Temu and Meduneta represents, it's mirrored scientifically in the field forces of electromagnetism because Temu is mentalism. There's the four attributes of manifestation around Neferteshera right there. That's around Neferteshera in the middle. And the four top left corner is Temu. So even in the Shabaka stone, all you hear mentioned about is Temu, but yet they're going to tell you that they're talking about Atum. Atum is not in the Shabaka stone. That's how your teachings of your teachers are so corrupted. Because Gardner, Reisner, Petrie, and Budge, and Burgess and Bremstead, and the Germans and the Greeks, like Germans and the British, and tell you that Temu, the T with the sledge, two sledges with three lines connected with a teardrop. Okay, there's T and a sledge with the determinative, the T, representing Temu. They told you in the Shabaka stone, if you look at the cosmology of the Shabaka stone, they call Atum. They call Temu Atum. Atum is the sun when the sun sets. When the sun sets, the sun becomes Atum, A-T-U-M, Ra, Atum Ra. We use that symbol as we say farewell. Generically, we perpetuate this Medunet as farewell because when the sun rises, the sun is Ra Atum. When we say greetings, we don't say hello because when you say hello, you Hellenize yourself. Everything is in etymology. You got to watch what you say. You got to check the words in which you express. So anyway, and when the sun sets, the sun is leaving. It's going into the Duat. I mean the Tuat. When the sun rises, the sun's coming out to the Duat. The Duat and the Tuat, sunrise and sunset respectively. So the Tuat, which the sun goes west to Amenti, where Asar Nefakenti Amenti dwells, and Atum Ra becomes the completed one. Meduneta Atum means he or she who is complete. And Atum Ra represents the setting sun. So if Atum Ra represents the setting sun, Atum Ra represents atomic energy because it's representing the sun. The sun is an atom. It has a proton, a neutron, surrounded by a nucleus. It has an electron. It's atomic energy. It is solidified as atomic energy. Atomic energy cannot exist in the subatomic realm, not in a stable form. It's there, it's just not stable. It doesn't have a proton, neutron, surrounded by a nucleus that has an electron. The electron is always there, and the particles are moving around in the weak force and the strong force. So how can Temu be Atum? How can they even tell you that? Because you know you don't read Menonetta. But if you can't apply this to generically to the cosmic forces that allow you to look at as the texts of the daily experience of quantum matter, which are the rules, which are nature, which are matter, and you break it down solid liquids and gases, like the symbol for the earth. The symbol for the earth is a goose, and this goose is the second day of the week, which we call the third day of the week is called Seb, and Seb has a goose on his head. Seb is the earth. Seb has union, is the mate of Newt, and so Seb, we know that his name is Sb because there is no E. The E is silent. We have vowels, but the E is silent. And so Seb means solid. We know it means solid because we turn it around backwards and it's Seb. I mean, it's best. We turn Seb around backwards. We got SB backwards. We got BS. And BS means best, and best means fire because we know that the earth, inside the earth, is a multi-core of lava, and it's fire. It's molten lava is inside the Earth's core, which is a ball of fire. So we know that we turn that around to Seb, and we know we're using the proper etymology or the proper vernacular or the proper linguist to produce the proper resonance and vibration to create the frequency that we're searching for. Okay, but if you read Budge calls it with a G. He calls him Geb. So most people like riding up on man and all the Kemetic community calls our father the earth, the great Urpat, which is the chief, Urpat, and Meduneta means the chief. The great Urpat is Seb. And Seb is known in the Kemetic community. There's Seb right there. Look at that. See the G? See how they got the G up there? That's the corruption. They corrupted his name. So when you call upon him, you already diminish the frequency of the resonance of the seismic energy of the frequency while you produce the G. You diminish the frequency to the second, third, fourth frequency. Okay? And then Newt is correct. But there's Gep. There's not Gep. The Germans use a K. The Germans call him K. Kep. Right? So here it is here. So when you look at this picture here, without a trained eye, you would not even know that this is the sacred math, the divine science, and the culture, spirituality. That's the calendar right there. When you see somebody separating the earth from the sky, that represents the mathematical equation of the Earth's three motion, which the Earth rotates on its axis, it revolves around the sun, and it's tilted 23.5 degrees from vertical, which makes it wobble, which is 26,000 years. But we know that the first motion of the Earth is 24 hours and 35 minutes because that's a solar sidereal lunar calendar, which is based upon an annual time of 8,766 hours. That's called a sidereal year or sidereal. Google sidereal year, and they will tell you word for word, if you Google it, that the sidereal year is the amount of time it takes the sun to break the plane, to traverse the ecliptic plane, and return to its original position in respect to the fixed stars. It's a sidereal year. And on a sidereal year, that's 8,766 hours. That's your monthly equation. So when somebody tells you this 30 days a month, and that's all you got to do is break the math down to 8,766 hours. Now, with this mathematical equation, you got the three motions of the Earth. It rotates on its axis 24 hours and 35 minutes. But if it rotates on its axis 24 hours and 35 minutes, when it revolves around the sun, there's only 360 days in a year. It's not 365 days, it's 360. But when you and then it's tilted 23.5 degrees on its axis, which makes it wobble, and that's 26,000 year cycle, the phenomenon precession. But a solar calendar is 24 hours and 35 minutes. But the other period of the rotation of the Earth on its axis is 24 hours. And on 24 hours in every day, the second motion is 365 in every year. That's what today is. Today we have 24 hours in a day, right? Everybody knows it's 24 hours a day, and everybody knows it's 365 days in a year, 365 and a quarter days, okay? But in the original calendar, this is when they did the finagle the bangle on you. You got to know what they did to you so that you can recognize it. So when you see it, listen, hey, give me that 20. So under 24 hours and 35 minutes, there's 360 days in a year. That's the original calendar of mankind. But guess what? That's a perfect calendar, but there's only one problem. You got one problem with that calendar. You know what that problem is? You don't exist. There's only 6 forms of life: plants, insects, reptiles, water creatures, birds that fly, and animals. Man and woman don't, the 7th form of existence don't exist. Man and woman does not exist. Enter Jehuti. Because Newton said, go back to that picture again, go back to that picture with set the earth and Newt the sky. So when you see these vignettes on these papyrus papers and these depictions, you're able to interpret it yourself. All you got to do is apply it to the mathematical equation and know how to tell time. Here you go. Here's another picture. There's somebody else separating them. That looks like Shu. There's a feather on his head. So anytime you see the feather, that's your father, Shu. Because Shu and Tepnu had union and gave birth to 7 Newt. Okay? So he's separating them. When you see the separation, that means the 3 motions of the earth is 24 hours and 35 minutes. And the second motion of the earth revolving around the sun, that's 360 days. Because he's separating them. But when you seen there was nobody there on the other picture that didn't separate them, that meant that there was 365 days for the revolution of the earth around the sun, and each day was 24 hours a day, just like the day. That's called the Tahushi calendar. This is the Rasaurian calendar. This is the solar calendar. And that is the Tahushi calendar, and this shows you the biosphere, your connection to the earth and the sun, the earth and the sky, and your relationship to the cardinal forces and to the biosphere. That's somebody's teaching. I just seen that schematic. I just want to break that down for you. But anyways, here's another picture with Ra separating them. See, even Ra got in the picture because Newt and Seth wanted to have children. That's how we got here. That's where the extra 5 days come from the first. It's called the first ancestors. Who do you think the ancestors are? The first ancestors are the 5 children of Newt and Seth. Newt the sky and Earth the Seth. And them children's names are Heru, Asar, Sut, which you know is Set, Ast, which you know is Isis, and Nebhet, which you know is Nephites. Okay? So now, So now in Asar society, they don't even know who Heru is. They got Newt has 4 children. So if Newt has 4 children, the whole mathematical equation is flipped and turned with the motions of the Earth to the mathematical equations of the 3 motions of the Earth. It rotates on its axis, revolves around the sun, it sits at 23.5 degrees from vertical, which makes the Earth wobble, and one complete wobble of the Earth is 26,000 years. So they corrected. Here's Heru right there. No one even knows who Heru is. He's the elder. He's older than Asar. Asar, Unepa Ketemeti, has an older brother. And his older brother is Heru. He is personified with a human body with 2 heads. The left side has the head of Heru, the other side has the head of Set. And Heru represents universal dualism. He represents the day and the night. It is Heru that makes the Earth rotate. Okay? And then that's when we come into the story of the plants. And the plants were being eaten by the insects because the Earth wasn't rotating. It was like the moon. And then till the molten core heated up. And so now the Earth starts to spin because now there's the 5 ancestors are here. And Asar and As gave birth to Heru. And Heru and Helical gave birth to the Shemsurus. The Shemsurus are Mesta, Hapi, Tomutep, and Quebsina. And these children become the Shemsurus, the 4 original tribes. And I am from the descendants of the 4 children of Heru, who are born from Heru, and Heru is born from Asar and As, and Asar and As is born from the womb of Nut and begotten of Seth, and 7 Nut were born from Shu. The Shu is gas, and Tefnut is moisture, which is now the element, and Shu and Tefnut were born from a direct issue of Ra Never Teshuvah, which is how we would have broke down the Ankh if I was breaking down the Ankh to you to show you why it means being. But to understand that part, we have to go into the concept of self-creation. We break down the primordial field forces, the manifestations of Ra Never Teshuvah, because we are here to acquire the ability to experience the phenomenon. This is our story. So some people can't handle our story. They don't even want to talk about it. That's why they don't want to talk about our story, because they can't get it. Because you got to go cosmic. You got to be able to relate to primordial forces. You have to be in tune. And this is why I say to you who did not get this narrative today, as you travel hither and thither, north, south, east, west, upon the terrestrial plane, within the atomic domain, just know you that this is the Pert Emeru, Panebu, the chapter of coming forth by day every, and knowing the continuous perpetual evolutions of Ra, Never Teshuvah. And I hope everybody buys the calendar today. Remember, January the 1st, our New Year's, today is the 118th day of the year. That means 118 days ago, the star rose. That was on July 25th on the Gregorian calendar, which means that there is 242 days remaining still in this calendar. So don't wait till January the 1st to buy your calendar, because even if you even think about it, January 21st, you're talking Gregorian time. You're talking a slave mentality time. You have to step beyond the door of European understanding and embrace your divine birthright of immortality. You need to contact the Queen Mother God. Don't send me a dime. I don't want a dime from you. I don't want nothing for this lesson, for this instructions, for me guiding you, because that's my duty. I am ordained by the Netarus to do this. I cannot charge you for anything. But you have to get, the Queen Mother Goddess has the calendar. She's an official distributor. And we do have to maintain an overhead like everybody else. But you need to contact her on her Etsy page. Contact her through her PayPal. She's Joy Allen. Go to Joy Allen. You can go to Ramutep Queb. You can also go to Michael Kimbrough, who's Kwame Menra Amen on Facebook. He is a global distributor. And Kepler Ptah is a global distributor. So you have many people to buy your calendar from. And I'm also a global distributor. Okay? And the president of Ghana, I have students in Ghana who I was supposed to be going to Ghana to meet the president through his son and his friend, the Black Messiah. I had my passport and everything. I was supposed to meet the president. He wants to see the calendar. The people of Ghana want to adopt this calendar as the national calendar of Ghana. That means we're going to Gambia, we're going to Kenya, we're going to unify the whole African continent under one. So everybody around us wants this calendar, and the Kemetic people who are right next door to me, who are influencing everybody around here, is telling you that there are not 9 days a week. Now, the original calendar is 9 days in a week, but ours is a solar signal lunar calendar. So there is 10 months, there is 10 10 days in a week on the lunar cycle aspect of this calendar. Remember, this is a solar signal lunar. I incorporated that teachings what they teach inside this calendar. But they won't teach the other two parts of the calendar that I'm teaching, which is solar and sidereal. So if you don't combine this solar and sidereal, and you disconnect yourself from the cosmic environment, from that Milky Way galaxy, you see the Milky Way being, that's the cosmic, invisible, and biblical cord of the great Mother Goddess Newt that connects us to that black hole. You cannot travel cosmically unless you connect your frequency to this mathematical equation and to this frequency, which connects you to the cosmic tapestry. The fibers of the universe are embedded mathematically. So when they stole your mathematical equation, and then second, and then last of all, before I go, the birthday, whatever day you think you're born on is not your birthday. They lied to you. They stole your birthday at the time you was born. That's how heavy this is. It's so heavy, it's mind blowing. So everybody think, oh, like we just did a special for the Queen Mother Goddess, Sba-t Newt. We were still happy. Her Gregorian birthday ain't for a couple of days now. It's November 24th. But we celebrated on November the 15th because Ramutep Queb, my senior Seba inside the Naga ship, who performed the alignment, the celestial alignment, he lines you up with Sba-t, and he up there with Sba-t, the spring equinox, the day you was born, the year you was born, and so right, we have the mathematical equation that can give you the true day of your birth. You need to contact Ramutep Queb on Facebook. He's on our program all the time. That's my number one. That's my elder student, and he will return you to the original. I gotta get my natal chart, my birth chart done through the methodological star timeline. Okay, but mine was lined up. I'm on July 28th, so I'm lined up so close to the Helical rising that my birthday did change. Now he got me as August the 3rd on the Gregorian calendar. Between August 25th, I was born on the 28th. He's saying I'm between 20. He got me at 20. He's got me at the 1st of July, 1st of August, which is the 3rd of August is the Khemetic Helical rising. So there's 3 Helical rising. One Helical rising occurs on July 25th. And on July 25th, on the Nilotic Meridian, that means from the Giza Plateau all the way down to the Ethiopian cemetery of T, where the calendar is of T, T-Y-E, and to Nata Playa in Western Sudan, all the way down to Adam's calendar, that's the Nilotic Meridian. And on the Nilotic Meridian, the star, the sun, the Helical rising occurs at 3:03. We had a live broadcast on Black Ice TV with Black Ice TV Richie. We did a global connection from the Sudan with our Seba, our resident in the Sudan, Ahmed, Amru Ahmed, Mary Ahmed. You have to check him out if you're going to Egypt. He does the tour of the Sudan. He was on his roof. I said, okay, we got it. I had it at 5:23 a.m. So he said, I've been out here since 3 o'clock. The sun been rose with the star. It was 2.5 hours earlier. But we have ground field operatives who seen it with their own eyes, who are in tune with our cultural, cosmic, cultural spirituality in the Sudan, in Khartoum. And we're going to go next year, hopefully. This year coming up, look like that coronavirus ain't leaving nowhere. But we're trying to get over here on July 25th on our tours to Kemet, to the Sudan, to Napata, to Medaway, to Kerma. And we want to be at the pyramid necropolis of the Sudanese Kush kings. And we want to see where the star aligns with the pyramid complex in Medaway, where it lines up in Nata Playa, where it lines up in Kerma. We want to do our own field work on our cosmic time. We are not even thinking about the Gregorian time. That time it's foolishness. It's like having an 8-track radio today and we're using MP3s. You got an 8-track tape in a car that don't even have 8. They don't even use 8 tracks no more. That's what the Gregorian calendar is going to be to an African person or to a melanated person. Why would I have a Gregorian calendar and it stole everything from me? Unless I'm just stupid. And that's where your teachers got you, where you don't know how to, you don't even know how to tell time. They don't even know how to tell time because they're Hellenized. They're scholars. All scholars are, are the root of everything that's wrong with us. Now, you need scholarship. But why would you call yourself a scholar when the first school of scholarship was founded by Plato and Aristotle? You're talking Greeks who was taught in Kemet. So why would you call yourself a scholar when they learned from you? Unless you're just mentally insane. You have become corrupted. That means you're a fit. That means you're eating the wrong foods and you was taught by the wrong teacher. So you need to outgrow your teacher and come over to the Naga ship. You need to get on the ship that flies like Ra. I know you're nature. It's time to rise like Ra. Listen to me, people. I'm on a mission from Ra, from Ra, from Ra. Anata Apupa Maat, Uncle Stajet, Uncle Johnson, there, Ruben Epicare, Padre Buaru Maati. Don't forget to buy your calendar from the great Queen Mother. I'm sorry, Queen Mother. I've been running my mouth. I wanted you to facilitate. You know, I wanted the feminine energy to facilitate and navigate us. But you know, when I start talking about that Kemetic community, I'm like a trigger. And I want to make sure that my Shamsurus, my Nagas, my Nesubitis, my Hemets, my Sba-t, my immortal ones of my understand that mathematical equation that took me 2 hours to break down so that you could do your due diligence. Go to calendar reform 754 AUC. It's in the public domain. Everybody knows it but black people. Nobody uses this time. This time is obsolete. You think they got to the moon? They didn't get to the moon by using GMT. They didn't get to the moon by using UTC, Universal Time Coordinated, or Greenwich Mean Time, which is just Google GMT, Greenwich Mean Time. Just Google UTC, Universal Time Coordinated. Just Google ZT, Full Time. And you'll see that they got to the Russians were using GMT. The Russians were using UTC. They kept missing the moon. So the United States, they went to use the pyramid text, and they used the pyramidal inch and the sacred cubit by measuring the base of the great Merkur of Giza, of Kemet, the Great Pyramid, and its base is 198 pyramidal inches, which comes out to 186,000 miles per second. And they broke that down to a mathematical equation, which is the trajectory of its launching from the Earth and the movement of the moon as it rotates. The moon as it revolves. The moon doesn't spin. The moon doesn't rotate. It revolves around the Earth. The Earth rotates. The moon doesn't rotate. And so they landed on the moon because they used our African genius information and sacred science. So the more you know, just come over to the Naga ship. We have a secure social multimedia, secure social media net platform called the Naga Ship Association. And we have the Naga Ship telecommunication multimedia platform with the great Queen Mother Sba-t. And we're going to be teaching. We have 1,000 websites under the Naga Ship in which we are giving to our great teachers. So because everything's going virtual, your kids are not going back to school because of COVID. First of all, everybody's going virtual. We're already jumped up in front of it. We have all our teachers coming in, teaching music, teaching science, teaching everything that you learn in the science, geometry, mathematics, everything that you would learn under the school system or under the sacred teaching. We're going to supply for you, have that available for you on our platform, the Naga Ship, under the Nagatian Institute of Cosmic Awareness, Spiritual Consciousness, and Universal Enlightenment, and the Naga Ship Association, and the Naga Ship Association Telecommunication Multimedia Platform with our great Queen Mother. You get all the information from our great Queen Mother, our divine, revered, honorable Queen Mother Goddess Asma-tep Nut. And I am Ptah Asar. And we're 2 hours and 45 minutes. Woo, we're going into 3 hours. Well, we're going to have to take a break now. I think I need a drink of water. After 2 hours, 35 minutes, I think I need a drink of water sometime.
Yes, Sba, you are overdue on a drink of water.
Have a last words.
Yes, Sba, Ptah Asar, you are overdue on drinking your water.
Can you hear me? Could you hear me all this time?
I can hear you.
Okay. I can't hear you.
It's okay.
Okay.
So, I asked for Sba-t Secret Asar to take the lead today because this topic of our story versus his story was a topic that, as far as I know, he is the only one who can bring it to you in the manner that it should be.
I can't hear you. I'm gonna go
presented to you. So, with that being said, Sba-t Secret Asar had a few requests. I want to share that information now. So, my sister, Sir Wapul, she was the first one, and Seba's back. My sister, Sir Wapul, was the first one to take the challenge that Sba-t Secret Asar placed, the money challenge, the dollar challenge for the Cash App and or the PayPal. So dua to my sister, Sir Wapul. Also, there was a donation.
Oh.
And, you missed it, Seba. Okay, the first donation came from Sir Wapul, Seba.
Oh, dua. Panatap Pamana was the Jero Kujas Divine blessings to you and your family. We appreciate that.
Yes. And Woo God
$20 PayPal. All right.
Yes. Dua. We appreciate the donation. And yes, Tisha Thompson is my name on my birth certificate and social security card. So yes, that is the correct PayPal. You send it to PayPal and you see that name, that is me. And that name I use in other presentations for business related topics.
As another $20?
As a receipt.
Dua. That's boo-boo. That's boo-boo God man. All right, dua Seba. Panata Pamara was the jet. Uncle Johnson there moving up the kid. That's a dollar challenge. He just covered 40 people. That's dua. Because y'all just worked me. Y'all worked me for 2 hours and 45 minutes. I know somebody better show a blessing, and we appreciate that. We are humbled and honored that you have sent the Queen Mother Goddess on her platform, the Nagaship Association Telecommunication Multimedia Network. You blessed us. Dua.
Yes. And also, for information on the calendar, you can purchase your calendar through the Etsy link. This is the Ancient Khemetic Rasaurian Calendar. This is the 3-in-1. It is a solar. It is a sidereal. It is a lunar calendar. This is for the fraudulent Gregorian calendar year of 2020 through 2021. We know that is the Renpet number 10, the year number 10. This is also the Crumb TV edition. And we are accepting orders. You can place your order on PtahOriginals.com with my Sba-t Secret Asar and or his PayPal, which is the paypal.me back to Kemet. My PayPal is the paypal.me/TNT boss. And this is the Etsy shop, Time and Immortality information. The link is in the description. And also we accept Cash App. This is my Sba-t Secret Asar's Cash App. It is $, Ptah Secret Asar. The calendar is $25. Your global distributor will autograph your copy of the Ancient Rasaurian Calendar Solar Calendar. With the purchase of your calendar, you will receive 2 free items. You will receive the personal PDF copy of the Cosmic Egg, which we have shared with you today. And you will also receive an MP3 audio to complement the use of your calendar. Here is some more of our contact information. My Sba-t Secret Asar, his Gmail, Yahoo information, and his Twitter and phone number. Seba Ramutef Queb has been mentioned in the broadcast. This is his Facebook information, and we also have my Asma-Atef Nut information pages up, as well as the Nagaship Association Telecommunications Multimedia. This is the Cosmic Egg, aka the primeval germ that you will receive free with your calendar. So the PDF of the Cosmic Egg and the MP3 will come in an email. Your calendar will come in the postal mail. So That's the delivery methods. Also, I'd like to share with everyone that, as Sba-t Asar has mentioned, we are not here to get down to the bottom of your pocket. We're not here to take your money. Receipts. There are times where we give away free calendars. The calendars are free. We have given away free calendars on the broadcast. We have given away free calendars on through posts on our social medias. And so, for example, in a broadcast, we will ask 3 questions each sometimes, and we will present the answers in the broadcast. So we're not here to trip you up. We're not here to give you a headache. We're just here to give you the calendar, but we want something back. We want to know that you heard us. We want to know that you are in the process of remembering all that you already know, as Sba-t Asar has said before. So again, stay with us in the subscribe, like, comment, and share on our platforms. Stay in the know, the knowledge of where we're at and what we're doing. And if you need a free calendar, the opportunity will be here for you to have the opportunity to receive a free calendar. We present the questions, we give you the answers. Only thing we ask in return is that we receive your email address so you can receive your 2 free items. We need your mailing address so we can mail you your calendar. And I think that's about it. So with that being said, we're going to close out the show. I know Sba-t Asar always has his closing. I'm going to say Panatara Pu, Pamaat, Ankwaz Dejed, Ank Uja Seneb, Uben Neferi Care, Panebu Haru Maati, rising always in divine excellence with Maat, every day, all day. Dua, Dua'u. I appreciate you all being here. I appreciate Sba-t Asar coming and taking time to share with all of us this gift, the precious treasure of immortality. Sba, if you would close out the show for us, share your closing remarks. Dua'u, Sba.
Yes. I will close out the show. The words that I use that were written in Meduneta by our paternal father, Asar, Unepa, Kenti Amenti. And he instructs me to say that within the whole of the universe, nothing is ever added and nothing is ever lost. Panata Pupamaat Onkos Dejet Onkuja Seneb Ubenafikir Paneburu Maati, rising always in divine excellence with Maat, all day, every day. Dua, Ramet, first family. Dua. We'll see you on our next broadcast next Thursday. Atumra Hotel. Hete poo, dua, Nazarak Ramet, Immortality. Greetings in divine greatness, divine excellence to the first families. My Naga, Shemsaru, Nasupitis, Sba-t, Mutratats, the immortal ones of Maat cherished, of the phenomenon of precession, New Age order, great golden age of Maat Asar, and all citizens, descendants of the Nile Valley Cultural Cosmic Collective Consciousness Spirituality. Many are the mysteries concerning the universe and the Ankh, life that is found within it. This is also true regarding the theories, laws that govern them. Who am I? Where do I come from? Why am I here? And where am I going? All the known and unknown forces of the universe are of one origin. Necessity becomes the order by which these forces reveal themselves. Existence demands that energy be spent. Existence is realized by the expansion of energy that must have a source. In the case of our universe, Ankh life is always associated to heat and movement. But the energy that drives the entire universe is of the direct result of the self-creation of Ra Nevateshera radiation, which produces the phenomena of attraction and repulsion, along with the anomalies of heat and movement. Pa nata apu pa ma'at. How sweet is the ma'at, truth of the Patnatarus. Onk was the jet, life, power, stability. Onk uja seneb, life, prosperity, health. Uben, nepike panebu haru ma'ati. Rising always in divine excellence with ma'at. Every day, all day.